Hey everybody, Jordan here. Just a quick thing. We just finished recording the episode, and there are a number of descriptions of death that happen in this episode. So if that is a thing that's uncomfortable for you, just be ready for that. It happens primarily at the top and the tail of the story. So just be ready for that. Take care of yourselves. If it's something that's really bad for you, maybe you skip this episode. Uh, your mental health is more important than seeing this story. As good as this story is going to be. Anyway, take care of yourselves, love yourselves, and enjoy the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dice Jailer's One Shot Summer. I am your game master for tonight, Jordan Michael Whidbey, with my fantastical familiars. Say what's up, fantastical familiars.
So
Hello.
That it's funny, even when it's not. So we will be today, instead of our usual one shots that we've been doing for the summer, we will be running a one-page RPG called The Witch is Dead. It was a fantastic one-shot RPG written by Grant Howitt. I've bought this one-page RPG like 3 or 4 different times through different RPG bundles and whatnot. One of the easiest ways to find it is on DriveThruRPG, which you can also find a bunch of different one-shots and one-page RPGs, which is one of my favorite formats and structures for tabletop role-playing games, because sometimes you get so bogged down in the rules that you get bored. And one-page RPGs, it's a page. The whole game is a page. So the way this one works, it's a D10 system. We have all of our players playing familiars, and I'll tell the story in a second after we have everybody introduce yourselves.
Hello, my name is Goober Entertainment. I'm a Twitch streamer and YouTuber. I'm going to be playing Rathu III Esquire, the youngest in a line of witch familiars who just got assigned their first witch.
Hi. Hi, my name is Mario Gomez. I use he, him pronouns. I'll be playing Mischief, a magpie that won't tell you everything that he knows just yet. And if anyone's wondering, he may be an African or a European magpie.
But how are we going to know their flight speed?
You'll have to find out.
Hi, I'm Brian Beyer. I am playing Bartholomew Todrick Johansson, who is the resident bad boy of this familiars group. Think like Breakfast Club, like leather jacket kind of feel to this character.
In fact,
Yeah.
you do have a small leather jacket that your beloved witch has made for you. And so, to begin this, I'm just gonna read off the sheet for this one-page RPG because I absolutely love it. The Witch is Dead, an RPG about murder. Once upon a time, there was a kind and wise and beautiful witch who lived in the forest with her familiars, and her life was peaceful and happy until a fucking witch hunter broke into her cottage, dragged her out, and fucking murdered her, and now she's dead. But if you get revenge and kill him and bring his eyes to her corpse within a week, she'll come back to life. Or so you've heard. Even if it doesn't work, at least he's dead. So we have our familiars. We have their beloved witch, Lillian Vex, who you've been living out in the forest with for however long you have been with her, near the town of Satbury. And this one-page RPG, all of these familiars have their stats, which you'll see scrolling in the box underneath me. And those stats, with this, it's a D10 system. You roll a D10 and add your associated stat with the thing you're trying to do. And if you roll high above the DC, you succeed. If you roll low, maybe you fail. If you roll really low, you get a point of danger. And if you roll your danger or below on a roll, something terrible happens to you that equates to you getting taken out of the game. So once you get like a point or two of danger, the stakes start to get higher for what you're doing. This system also has some random rolls for the setting, which we will do, which also means that I am half flying by the seat of my pants as I run this. So the rolls that happen for this town, there are 2 different rolls to determine some things about the town. And I would love Eric, if you and Mario would just roll a d10 for me.
6.
3.
That was a 6 and a 3.
Correct.
Cool. So that means this village is at war with some neighboring some neighboring peoples in the nearby forest that your witch hut happens to also be in. And the town is controlled by a creepy cult. So that's great.
Good rolls. Good rolls.
Great. So I've got to change 90% of the half-baked story I had already.
My bad. My bad.
And then, Brain, you get to have the all-important roll that gives us something about the witch hunter.
That is a 10.
A 10. All right, so the witch hunter is, personality-wise, is headstrong and wild. All right, so I'll put that into play. And there's also a twist, which I will roll. And that is a 5 for those of you playing along at home. I'm also going to put it here in editing later, because I've mostly figured out how to do that now, and I'm going to overuse it. So that's a thing. Okay, cool. So all of you, it is a beautiful, wonderful morning. You are in your hut, your home, happily where you've lived for however long you've been with Lillian. You all have your own different, Mischief, you have a little perch, almost like a nest over in the corner by the kitchen. Rathu, being the distinguished gentleman that you are, you have... It's just kind of like a playset house that you live in. Very, very Jerry from Tom and Jerry-esque. Where, like, you really just have a mini house. Like, yeah, you're a rat, but you're a distinguished rat, so you're just there.
I've got to live in style.
Yeah, and Bartholomew, you have your own little set of stones with a bit of a pond. You are a toad, so water's there for you, but you're not always up and around in it. And there's a little bit of kind of moss and rocks and dirt that you love quite a bit that's relatively near Lillian's bed. It's very early in the morning. You're all still waking up. And you hear a blood-curdling scream from outside. Unmistakably, this voice is Lillian's. What would you like to do?
I would immediately leap out of my tiny toy bed and open the shutters on my tiny toy house and stare out to see if I can see what's going on.
Yeah, so your tiny toy shutters. I can speak. I speak for a living. You throw open your tiny toy shutters, and your rat house is set up in a way that you can see out of your windows. You can see out of the window that is the front door of this hut, and you can see this. There's this flash of, like, it looks like these long purple and blue robes, and this long black hair that is darting away through the forest back toward the main town. The rest of you waking up. What do you do?
Mischief wakes up and he started ignoring a message spell from someone he's familiar with.
Yep, fair enough.
And he said Lillian was being chased by a sea of blue robes.
Lillian usually wears some pretty unassuming robes that are usually black with bits of crimson. When she's going out to the town, there's a more formal wear, but at home it's really simple robes. She likes black and crimson.
Hmm.
But yeah, Wrath, you saw someone wearing like purples and blues fleeing back towards the town. From your nest, you would also be able to see out the window and see this very quickly if you take a look.
Yeah, I think Mischief would do that.
Okay, yes. Then you definitely also see this person start fleeing from the front of your home from outside. As far as Bartholomew, you're on the ground. It's a little harder to see. You'd have to make a conscious choice to hop up and take a look, and what you see might be a little less detailed.
Even though I've been with the witch for a while, since I am the resident bad boy of the group, I'm going to turn over, yell, "Can it, toots!" and go back to sleep.
Great. So what do the rest of you do? This is already better than I could have hoped.
Well, I guess in that case, Mischief will turn to uh how does Mischief address Bartholomew Todrick Hansen?
I'd probably go by either Bart or Toady to the
Right.
other familiars.
Cool.
Yeah.
So actually, he turns to Rathu, going, "Hey, I'm going out to take a better look, and a Mischief will, unless there's a open hole, he'll go down the chimney, up the chimney, and out just to get an an bird's eye view
Mhm.
on not quite intended, but I'll take it of the situation."
I mean, you're a bird. Pretty much everything's going to be a bird's eye view for you. But yes, you actually do. Lillian has made in this hut. She's made 1.5 million different accommodations for all of you to be able to help her as best as you can as her familiars. So there is a flight hatch out of the side that it's like kind of like if you imagine a doggy door, but like up at window height. That you're able to fly out of real quick.
Also, Mischief was probably the first summon the familiar, so he probably got some nicer things. But he
Absolutely.
definitely was treated. It was probably more treated more harshly. So he'll just so Mischief will go out of the bird catch and then just go up into the sky to see what he can
All right.
find out.
Give me a quick check to see just how zoomy you are.
9, 11.
11. Okay. So you're able to get a much better view as you dart out quickly. Because you are still in the forest, so there's some underbrush to kind of fly in and around, but the hut is in its own pretty nice, serene clearing. Clearing's too strong of a word. There's a small area that's been carved out, because she's been living here for a good amount of time with some of you. And so you're able to get a good view of this person that's running away. Slicked back, long black hair. Looks to be a relatively tall person. You're not quite sure if they present masculine or feminine, because you just see the back of them with this long hair, roughly 6 foot, with these long flowing blue and purple robes. And there is a trail of blood dripping from their right hand that they are trying to wipe clean. They have a short sword in their hand. They're trying to wipe clean as they're running. And that's when you see it. You follow that trail of blood back after you get a good picture of this person in your mind's eye. You follow that trail of blood back, and you can see Lillian laying on the ground in front of the hut with this large slash in her abdomen and some of her intestines kind of pouring out of her stomach. And she is already dead. You can tell even from this height.
As
So-
Mischief flies out, I definitely jump up and sprint towards what I would assume is the front door. Unless the house is like
Mhm.
only a half house, then I'll just go towards the open bit. But
No,
as I
it's a
pass
it's
the
a full
mirror,
it's a full hut, and in the front
Okay.
door there is a rat-sized door that has been
Okay.
relatively recently put in specifically for you.
I quickly sprint out. As I pass the mirror, I stop really fast and slam down my whiskers because I just got out of bed. And, check my fur. As I run back to the door, I open it, close it, make sure it's actually secure, like check, like as if there was a lock.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd yell down, Bart, you need to get up. What's going on? Stop being on the moss.
Give me just for shenanigans. Give me a clever check to see how well you're able to straighten yourself up.
11 also.
Jesus. So you just immediately just in the mirror. I'm good, and head out.
All right. Upon hearing Mischief's cries and Rathu calling out to me, I'm gonna reluctantly and slowly start to get up, put on my leather jacket, pop the collar, and start like leisurely walking towards the door.
Also, give me a clever check for how popped your collar is. I can't not.
That's an 8.
An 8. You're looking good, bud.
Oh yeah.
As you kind of toad lumber your way out, you'd also head out the same front door that that has been put together for Rathu. It used to be just a hatch for you because that's all you needed. You didn't care. But Rathu, being a gentleman, needed a proper door. And as you convene outside, you all see Lillian disemboweled, dead on basically the front pathway up to the house.
Immediately upon seeing Lillian on the ground, Rathu definitely starts freaking out because he was just assigned his first witch of a long line of prestigious rat familiars, and he just got here and his witch is already dead.
Yeah.
So
Let me
he's
check.
having a panic right now.
Yeah. We'll get to that. Let me just check and see. Yeah, so I just did a roll for how many other people in your line have had their witch die, and no one.
It seems about right, yeah.
You are the first in your line to have their witch die. So the freak out makes a lot of sense.
Also, when I say I'm freaking out, I'm not so much grieving as panicking that my family is going to be judged for this,
Yep.
by the way. Like, obviously it's awful she is dead, but I'm more freaking out about the fact that I just got here and have already failed.
Fair.
I'm going to put on a brave face and pull up a piece of straw and light it like a cigarette, start smoking it. But inside, know that like I'm like Kermit flipping around meme. Yeah.
Give me a fierce check.
4.
4. So all of you in your bits of panic and grieving, you do see that that Bart is holding it together, but you can see that he is needing to try to hold it together.
Mischief, noticing that and feeling brotherly, I suppose, because it was the first familiar. Hops sadly to Bartholomew and lifts its wing and sort of envelops him like a side hug.
I act like I'm gonna throw the wing off of me, but then just kind of like resign myself to it, knowing that it's what I needed.
Meanwhile, Rathu is over here.
Pacing. I'm spittering to myself. You can't really tell what I'm saying, but I'm like freaking out. And Rathu definitely turns and is like, guys, what do we do here?
The other wing.
What are we doing?
I would like all of you at this kind of gathering together to figure out what is going on and what you're going to do, I'd like all of you to give me a clever check.
4.
10.
4, 10,
7.
4, 10, 7. So all of you remember Lillian telling you that there are things that need to be done if something bad happens to her, but none of you can seem to remember what for a bit. And Wrath, as you're pacing, as you're trying to figure it out, pacing and pacing and pacing, it snaps. Like, yes, I remember. I was told this. It was just 2 days ago when I got here. She gave me a primer on everything to do, and you know that there is a scroll that is kept in a scroll case under her bed that is basically in case of emergency.
So I immediately, when I realized this, Rathu just kind of like, guys, the scroll, the thing that she told us, the scroll. Remember that? And then I just run into the door without fully explaining myself to go get it.
Great.
The scroll case is also where I keep my liquor stash, so I'm going to follow him in there. Yeah.
It's fair.
Mischief follows.
Alright, so you all head in, and you see the scroll case. How are you going to open it? None of you have thumbs.
Well,
What type of lock is on the case? Or latch?
There isn't a lock. It's just like if rolled up poster cases. It's basically one of those, but with a cap on each end.
well, I guess I'll be played straight, and I didn't want to use my spell like this because I was described as a chucklefuck, but Lillian did teach me the spell Unseen Hand. So I would say that as Rathius holding the scroll on one end, there's another hand just like an unseen hand just twisting the other end.
So as one of Lillian's first familiars, as her first familiar, describe for me when she was teaching you how to use Unseen Hand.
So it happened very early on. I was still Mischief was still a very, wild familiar. He hadn't been quite tamed. Partly because also Lydian at that point had been a very young witch.
Yeah,
Oh,
she had just started with her magic. She was probably like 17, 18, had just fled from her home to really study witchcraft in earnest.
Yeah, so it was really the two of us, and because she had just escaped, we were just living out, trying to scrape by as she learned. So we found that we had to survive by going around the different villages looking for the rich people's homes, and just because magpies have an affinity for shiny objects.
You
to
sure do.
Take the shiny objects from the chuckle fox who didn't need them because they have too many, probably exploiting other villagers. So she saw me once fly in, just trying to find something to help us with. But she saw me keep pecking at a jewelry box, and then that's when she realized, oh, I need to teach him something. And then she looks at her hand, and it just clicked. And I think that was also the first spell that she actually discovered on her own, that it wasn't taught by anyone else.
Because for the longest time she had been, using regular, like, really simple magic, like Mage Hand, but her hand could always be seen. It wasn't until working with you that together you both figured out how to make the hand invisible. And so, Mischief, while you're remembering on this, as you always do whenever you cast a spell, the invisible hand just and pops open the scroll case.
And-
Rathu, oh, go ahead.
No, go for it.
The moment the cap pops off, Rathu just starts pulling all of the scrolls, not really paying attention to which one he's grabbing. He's still kind of panicking, trying to figure out what he's doing. So he's just kind of grabbing, picking up, look, throw away, pick up, look, toss aside, like just kind of go through all of them, not
Okay.
specifically looking for anything identifiable.
Give me a clever check.
11.
Jesus. All right. I guess
A
we're just
little bit.
succeeding today. So Rathu, as you're pulling a scroll, you see one. No, that's not it. No. And then you see this one, and it's an impressive feat for you to recognize this scroll. You're pretty sure that she did this on purpose because although you can understand human speech, you are animals. You cannot speak it. As far as reading goes, none of you have been taught to read. But you can see on this scroll, there's a big diagram, and it's drawn fine. But there's a very quick, like, almost stick figure-ish drawing that looks kind of like Lillian laying on the ground with, like, X's over her eyes. And then the next thing that you see, there's a stick figure standing over her with a sword. And then it's kind of like drawn out in a comic for you. It seems like she planned this. And then the next panel, you can see the stick figure that was standing over her with a sword, laying on the ground with just big scrawls, like bloody scrawls, like empty eye sockets. And then you can see the next panel is the stick figure Lillian's body with an extra set of eyes, one in each of her hands. And then the last panel is Lillian standing there giving a thumbs up.
I guess as Rathu realizes that this is kind of the exact situation that he's in, he kind of just, guys, this one, I think, look, it's her, and tosses kind of the scroll onto the ground between all of us so that it's visible for everyone.
Yeah, and as Reti does that, Mischief just lets them know about the about the figure with the sword, the blood, the long hair, and he kind of pecks at the first drawing of the figure.
Now,
going
I've got to be
to-
clear. You all, as familiars, can speak to each other. You just don't speak human.
Fair enough.
I'm going to pull out some of the liquor I had stashed in the scroll case, pour it into a thimble, and start taking some sips.
Yeah, you can
and then I'm
see
gonna-
this bottle that is specifically for you. Like, Lillian says that she frowns upon your drinking as a familiar, but also this liquor is always there for you in that scroll case or near that scroll case. And after like your second week here, it started like you never really saw it stay empty, but you personally have never refilled it. And it started to have small flies in it as well. And it even started to get more specific as time went on of your favorite kinds of flies to eat.
She really cared about us. So I'm gonna say that I called her Lils a lot as sort of like a nickname, a pet name. And I'm gonna mutter to the other guys, well, guys, looks like we have to make sure the Lils have eyes.
This is why I invite you to things.
Oh no.
Mischief turns to him as he says it and goes, "Do you mean Mistress Lillian as eyes.
I mean, you would know at that point that I call her Lils, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I would approve.
Fair.
Fair. It's
Yeah.
fair.
Lils needs eyes.
Rathu's going to be continuing to read the scroll over and over, trying to memorize everything that he can kind of douse, I guess, for lack of a better word, out of this, trying to get like all of what it could mean, kind of zoning out what is going on with the other two, just like panicking still, like trying to get as much information on to fix the situation as possible. Just
Okay.
one track mind.
Give me a clever check.
6.
6. Yeah, you definitely memorized the comic. As far as getting any other details that might be in there, you don't really get anything else specific. You know that you need to get this dude's eyes and bring him back, and probably he needs to be dead, which would make sense if he didn't have his eyes.
Yeah, probably.
So, should we go kill the bastard?
But we'd have to
Kill-
figure out where he is first.
He was going towards the village.
So, I'm new here. Where's the village?
Mischief raises his wing and points that way. And actually, because he's a magpie, he probably gives him the exact cardinal direction.
Yeah, as a magpie, you absolutely know. It's tough to say. It's probably about like 10 degrees off of like exactly southeast. Probably 10 degrees toward east, off of southeast, going down.
We should start going, right? We should probably go like right now.
Yeah.
Why don't we figure out what exactly we're gonna do to this guy before we
Oh.
head over there and get caught
Kill him?
without a
I'm
plan?
gonna take his eyes. What do you mean?
Yeah. And bring the
It's that
axe back.
simple.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
as
if
the
Lils
group,
couldn't take him
yeah.
down,
as the group is making this plan, I'll introduce a mechanic that I've seen other game masters use that I realized I told the party but didn't tell the stream. Is that we're also going to use a small heist mechanic, because this game gets pretty heisty sometimes. And I'm giving each of the players one flashback, where if there's something that they need to do that they definitely need a plan for, they are allowed to flash back to maybe this moment when they made a plan, and that will definitely increase their chances of succeeding at this plan. Like, basically, at that point, it becomes a don't roll a 1 check. But each player only has one flashback for the entire game.
Right now, Rathu is way too hysteric to actually plan things. So he's just kind of like his whole plan would be just gun it.
I'm going to push Rathu against a wall and pour a thimble of alcohol down his throat.
Okay, give me, I guess, an opposed fierce to a quick check. Unless, do
I
you
assume I'm
try
quick,
to
right?
resist this at all?
Probably there's flies in that.
Yeah, there are. So you'll be doing the quick check, opposed to Bartholomew's fierce.
I got a 10 quick.
I rolled an 8.
An 8.
8 plus 2.
All right. So Bartholomew, you're able to get Rathu up against a wall, but the we're gonna call it fly whiskey. Rathu, you're able to just kind of nope, absolutely fucking not.
All right. I guess Mischief, based on just the years that he lived on the streets with Lillian, just gets his composure back. It's like, well, it's go time, and I guess he's going to call the flashback for the plan, because there's probably they already have a plan for, hey, things went to hell, we need to do something.
Okay. Okay. You can invoke your flashback right now. So that means that you would have a general plan for being able to weave your way through the forest and get past the walls into the town of Satbury. To be able to be there. You also know, using this flashback, you also have planned with the group, even within just the first day of because Rathu's only been here for like 3-4 days. You sat down like the first day and like, all right, if everything goes to hell, so you can get into the town, and you also know people, some places that people congregate in the town is what I'll give you for invoking your flashback this early.
Okay. So
So we can, if you like, I can narrate a daring like chase through the forest and over the walls and everything, or we can just cut to you being inside the walls and having your different areas you'd like to go to.
I kind of like to hear you narrate this.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, since I asked for a flashback, can I ask that maybe this involves a tiny air balloon for the rat and the toad to ride in next to the magpie across the forest?
Absolutely. Because Bartholomew occasionally smokes, you do have a little pouch in your leather vest of basically tiny matchsticks that Lillian had fashioned a small hot air balloon for you. It's not comfortable to fit more than you in, but it's possible to be able to float, and you can basically tie a small twine harness to Mischief, so that Mischief can kind of guide as the fire that you can put into this hot air balloon keeps you aloft, so that Mischief doesn't have to lift you, just kind of guide. And so in this hot air balloon, behind Mischief, you are able to fly over and through the forest that leads up to Satbury, passing a number of guard outposts that are along the way. I will need a group sly check to see just how well you get past all of these guards.
3.
7.
What was that?
3.
3? Great.
Thank God I have
4.
2 because I rolled a 1.
Beautiful.
4.
3, 4,
7.
and 3, 4, and 7. Okay. So you definitely get through. I'm not gonna take away like you being able to get through and into the town. But you are definitely noticed while trying to get into the town. To the point where the hot air balloon is shot down, so you won't have that to escape with, but you were able to land safely enough and kind of hidden atop the town walls. So you still need to get like down into the town proper, but for the most part you are there and safe.
Wait,
Do I
you're
know
saying-
who shot down the hot air balloon?
Uh
Do I know which direction it came from? Or
yes, it was from because there are outposts dotting the entire way in and out of the forest because of these battles from the villagers of the forest and Satbury. And it was one of the guards from a tower in Satbury that was actually one of the ones that hit you, but both were firing at you under the assumption that it was some kind of like messenger, like weird messenger system that they didn't want to get to the other side or get to a spy.
Wait,
I'm
you're
going
saying
to-
wait, you're saying that tiny hot air balloon towed by a bird is not something normal in Sudbury?
No, it's like 2/3 suspicious.
I'm going to shake my fist in the direction that the shot that took us down came from, and just mutter, "Pick on someone your own size."
Yeah, and Mischief just follows in support. Sudbury or like Sapbury?
And with that, Mischief starts to go down the route of potentially taking a class level in Bard, trying to practice Vicious Mockery.
Well, the last time that I played Vicious Mockery, it wasn't particularly vicious.
Yeah, it did its best. So you are inside the city limits of Satbury. You are atop the wall for now. And in your last planning session, you know that places that people congregate, people often go to taverns. They also go to the town center. There is a large temple of we're gonna say Tiamat that's in the city that is also kind of the town hall because it's a very very theocratic city, being mostly commanded by the cult and the high priestess. Where are my notes? The high priestess Ruzon. And so, like, the town square, the tavern, the temple, maybe the merchant quarter might be a place where someone would go, either if they were celebrating a kill or trying to hide with a crowd. Those are 4 different places that they would go.
So Rathu, not having knowledge of this, is currently out of the basket on the wall, just kind of scanning for the right robe color.
Okay. Give me... I'll say, it'll depend on if you're trying to be sneaky while doing this, or if this is pure, just, I don't care if my little rat head pops out over a wall and someone sees me, I'm just wanting to take a look.
I feel like he wouldn't be trying to be sneaky here, so just kind of take a look over.
Okay, then that's a pure clever check.
I got a 6.
A 6. Okay, you see a number of people wearing these same blue and purple robes, because you would not know this from being out of town, but there's these blue and purple robes everywhere. A lot of the standards of the town seem to be the same blue and purple coloration that you saw.
I'm gonna ask Mischief if Mischief sees anyone they recognize.
I mean, not from the wall. I think we need to get closer. I'm wondering, because this is looks like, these humans are dressing the same. So I think that usually means that they think the same things and believe the same things. So maybe should we go to the the place where they gather, where the place where like their Lillian gathers, because if they kill our Lillian, they probably want to tell that Lillian.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I say,
Thinking
we're at the
through...
shot, and I flick my cigarette into a pile of brush or something.
Is this planning to light it on fire as some kind of some kind of distraction, or just kind of a fuck you to the city?
More of a fuck you.
All right, give me a fierce roll to see if it actually lights on fire.
Dear God. 7.
A 7. It smolders. You're not sure if it like catches. We'll see what happens. Unless you want to sit around and wait for it.
No, we got better shit to do.
Okay. So where do you go?
Yeah, Mischief was suggesting they go to the temple / town hall, because that's probably where the human Lillian is.
Okay. So you head through town. Give me a group sly check. This is part sneaking, part you noticing things on the sly.
That's a 10.
11.
7.
Yeah. So you notice as you head through town, I mean, you're a bird, a rat, and a toad. Not uncommon to see in a town, especially not a town near a forest that's got some marshland nearby. like it's not uncommon. It is a little uncommon to see just a trio all together. So you pick up pretty quickly that although your individual existences aren't odd to these people, when you are very close together, visibly traveling as a group, that can catch people's eye.
I slink back
and-
behind everybody and pop my collar.
I love how the frog wearing a leather jacket is alone is fine, but with friends.
It's
So
it's a fantasy world with magic. Animals have clothes.
Oh no.
I'm half making this up as we go.
Oh,
Yeah, it's now canon. Animals wearing clothes, normal.
why not? Rathu's
But
gonna
all
continue-
animals are in their own gangs, like the sharks and the jets.
Rathu is
Especially,
going to continue following. Well, more running in the direction originally headed, not really realizing he doesn't know where he's going. Just kind of like, we're going that way, and then he just started going that way.
great. As you dart through the streets, heading toward the temples, you eventually see, and Rathu, even though you haven't lived here long,
Mhm.
you've seen temples. They're big ass buildings that humans like for some fucking reason. And you certainly find one that fits the description in your head, as well as what you've seen from other temples. As you start to get towards this place, it's got these big marble pillars, large spires coming out of the top, and these giant wooden doors that seem to have a smaller set of like regular sized doors carved into the center. And there are masses of people going in and out constantly, almost all of them wearing these blue and purple robes. I'd like those of you that saw the witch killer to give me one more clever check.
oh, that's 12.
3.
3. Rathu, you don't notice this. Mischief. Rathu, you're just single-minded, just like, I'm getting in this temple, we are solving this problem. Meanwhile, Mischief, you notice that most of these people here are wearing, like, just the robes, very simple, and they all have these circlets on. You recognize that the witch hunter that you saw running away was not wearing one of the circlets, and also had, you could see underneath the robes flowing as they ran, they were wearing armor underneath, like probably like some leather armor underneath their robes. Most of these commoners that you see are just wearing the robes as their regular clothes, and probably nothing underneath the robes.
Nothing.
As one of them walks over Rathu and he gets a big old view.
Yeah. Yes, because it's funny. Rathu, as you're trying to pick out where to next bolt to try and get closer to this temple, things get very dark for a moment. And you look up, and there's just balls. And the darkness passes, and someone has walked over you.
Rathu is just like looking around, just kind of wide-eyed, just freaking out. Like, what do I? Hello?
Yeah. Mischief flies next to him and he goes, "You see? Nothing underneath there. The motherfucker that killed Lillian have armor, looks like. Or pants or made out of cows."
I'm gonna elbow Rathu and say, "What? Never seen a tadpole before?"
I am not
Rathu
going to be the
is-
first spit take on this channel.
Rathu is trying to collect himself after a shock, and is kind of pulls himself back, and is calming himself down here.
All right. As Rathu kind of calms himself down, you're in front of this temple. What would you like to do?
I want to investigate the outside, just kind of see like what the possible entrances are.
Okay. Yeah. As you take, how much time do you think you're taking with this?
Not too much time, enough to like know that like I've given it a strong once over, but not like looking for every nook and cranny to like sneak into.
Place to
Okay.
enter without getting stepped on.
In that case, this is more of a quick check. So give me that. For kind of case in the joint, we'll say.
That's a 4.
That's 4. This is not a dangerous action, so we don't need to worry about any points of danger yet. But you do kind of quickly hop and like toad scramble your ways around. You don't get all the way around the building, but it looks like maybe if you could hop up to them, there are a couple open windows on the right side of the building if you're looking right at the front. There's also those main front doors. You're not sure if there's any other ways up higher. It's about a 3-story tall temple, and the big doors, they go up about 2.5 stories of like scale, just big double doors, with then smaller, regular sized double doors carved into the center for that people are actually going in and out of as an entrance. It's almost as though there's a bigger set of double doors for some giant creature to come through.
Being that Mischief and I have been here for a while, would we know much of anything about the cult and their practices? Like, is there any way we could use that knowledge to our advantage to sneak in?
Give me a shot. Give me a clever check.
7.
7. Okay. Yeah. There's a chance that you could hitch a ride with people heading in, because these robes, they are big, they are kind of big and flowy. And they're made to have pouches that are relatively hidden, and it's big and flowy enough that you might not be able to be felt if like each of you were to hop in like separate pouches. And with a roll higher than a 5, you would also know that one that's kind of easy to get into is this relatively hidden back pouch that's like it's a fanny pack basically space that is built into the robe, kind of like a kangaroo pouch on the back that is specifically for having hidden things. Because this cult, they sprung up around fighting the different peoples that live out in the forests, and they sprung up out of this like, we have the divine right to be here and control this area. And for that, it's gotten a lot of their religious doctrine has gotten into some assassinry to the point where it's gotten into their clothes. So they have a little like assassin pouch in their back that you could maybe hop in and hide in. You definitely need to hide in a separate one each.
Yes. I mean, does Rathu sort of share this? Sorry, Bart shares this.
Yeah, I think I'd tell people like, hey, see those pouches? Wanna bet we can get in those?
Yeah. And just out of curiosity, does Mischief, just given the his backstory with Lillian and the fact that he's a bird, does he have a sense that he could maybe just swoop in, maybe for a moment distract the cultist, so that his compatriots could jump in more easily?
Yeah, you've spent enough time sneaking around, stealing from these cultists, that the pouches are relatively reinforced, so if you were to give any kind of distraction, they probably wouldn't feel your compatriots jumping in the pouch at all. The problem is, depending on the distraction that you try to pose, these cultists are not above smacking a bird out of the air.
So Rathu, now with the knowledge that there is pouches that they're able to get into, Rathu wants to look around. He wants to see if there is like you said there was people coming in and out. I'm assuming that they're individually using different doors, or are they passing through the same
It's
one
the
entrance?
at least
Or
from
like,
the
or
front.
I guess
from-
more. Is there a line going in and a line coming out? Like, is there a specific group going in?
It's not really a line as much as it's just like, all right, people are going in, people are coming out. You can kind of see as you train your eyes closer on the door that it seems like people take the right side to enter, and from your perspective, the left side to exit. But also, if it's a big group all going in at once, they just kind of push open both doors and go through.
Okay. So in that case, Rathu looks for a group of people who looks like they are approaching or about to be going in. At least 3 people, so we can hop into pouches. Just trying to identify an easy target group of people facing away or together.
Yeah, I'm not even going to make you roll for it, because there's enough people that if you were to sit around for a good, 2 minutes, you'd be able to find it with no effort. So you find this group of 4 people, again, wearing all these same robes. It looks to be, this whole village is human. You might find the occasional half-elf, but pretty much everybody is human here. And you see a group of what look to be 2 men, one androgynous person and a woman, walking toward the temple, and they're in a pretty focused conversation with each other. So they seem like a pretty easy target.
So, I guess for context, Rathu only is what is directly in front of them town-wise? Like, is there lamps? Is there like a stall, a person begging? Anything directly in their path between them and the church that they wouldn't be able to miss looking at?
Yeah, there's a couple shop stalls kind of on the sides of the road that are selling, like, there's one that's selling incense, there's another one that's selling scrolls. None of the scrolls probably seem to be magical, but it's hard to tell because there's a sign up there and it has words. And you're not sure what those words mean.
Sure means something, I'm sure. In that case, with Rathu calm down enough to think clearly, but still kind of just gunning for this goal, immediately calls out this group of people. Oh, one more context. How many uses of spell do I get?
You just have it.
All right. So Rathu calls out this group of people in front of him. He's like, those ones look perfect, and just starts sprinting through the open straight towards them and casts Distract spell on both the incense stall and the scroll stall. Just like rapid fire a couple of them.
Okay.
Just trying to make something happen that distracts them on the way past as he's just running so he doesn't look at him.
Okay. You don't want... do you have anything in specific as you're using this spell?
Rathu knows incense burns and scrolls are flammable.
Great. So yeah, this Distract Confuse, there's just this smoke and a little bit of small crackling flame in both of these stalls, right as this group kind of gets in between them, that the incense, it smells lovely. Now that it's starting to burn more, it smells a little too much, but it does smell good, just a lot. And there's an older man that's hunched over these scrolls, like trying to pat them out, like pat the flames out. Just no, not my life's work. No, the religious texts, they cannot be harmed. And you're 80% sure that they're not going to notice you when you try and jump in.
Then Rathu commits fully and jumps into the first person's pouch.
All right,
The
give
closest
me,
to him.
rather than this being sneaky, because you made a distraction with your spell, This is just a quick check.
I got 11.
11. So you jump. Is there any one of them in particular that you're going toward? One of the
Just
two men, the
closest
woman, the
person.
androgynous person?
Yeah, the closest person's the one I'm just going. Whoever's in the back, I guess.
That's one of the men. And so you just swoop up into the pouch. You seem to be unnoticed.
I clean my whiskers and get myself because I realize I'm muddy now, so I'm cleaning myself off as I wait.
Well, Mischief, seeing Rathy do that, well, he goes, well, okay, I guess we're doing this. And just flies and tries to, I mean, maybe not dive bomb, but similarly go into the pouch.
All right.
Of
Give me a quick check.
12.
12. Yeah, you're able to just in there as if it's a nest you've been in before, because you've stolen a lot from these cult people. This is not a new maneuver for you.
And, I mean, just very slyly, I'm also just checking if there's anything shiny in the pouch. Force of habit.
All right, give me a slide check.
9.
9. There is something shiny. Something shiny that you're very accustomed to. That Lillian has told you many a time. If you see these, you should grab them. Because they're very useful to me. And it's just a big, shiny silver piece. Which, I mean, to your size is like, you know, yay big. But there's a big, shiny silver piece that, with the harness that was attached to the hot air balloon, you'd be able to slide that silver piece like up into the harness, maybe. It might slow you down a little bit, but you can absolutely take the shiny.
Yeah, I mean, Mischief is thinking about it. He cased the joint out of habit.
Fair.
So one thing that Lils and I always bonded over was making banana bread. You know, I'm a bad boy, but bananas have my soft side. Banana bread specifically.
Oh yeah.
So whoever's at the back, kind of furthest away from the group, whoever's at the back that hasn't already had somebody jump into their pouch,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to cast Conjure Dinner and conjure a banana peel at their feet, cause them to slip, and then hop into their pouch as they're falling.
All right, I'm gonna give these humans just like a base score of 1 everything because they're regular people. And you know what? This is gonna be a quick check of. I'm gonna say a quick check of 5 to not slip. You know, I'm not even gonna give them a base 1. I'm gonna give them just a flat 0 for stats because they are regular fucking people. And a quick check of 5 to not slip. That is a 2. They slip and fall. And so you conjure up the remnants of some dinner up underneath the right foot of this androgynous person that steps on it and slip, and they fall and ow, 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 that's the tailbone. That's absolutely the tailbone for sure. And while they are kind of rubbing themselves in pain, you just swoop up into the pouch.
I'll pop my head out and just like light up again, just like while we're walking.
I have to make this be a sly check.
That's a 9.
9. Yeah, so you're able to just kind of like many people in the military and in fighting zones, you're like, this is a combat time, and you just light it and kind of hide it. Like it's weird because you've got just kind of your toad hand, but you're able to hide most of the lit part like up underneath, cupped into your hand as you hold it while you smoke, so that the little bit of extra light doesn't give you away. And you are able to stealthily ride your way in these pockets into the temple.
Nice.
Uh,
I'm gonna apologize. I'm gonna run to the bathroom.
yeah, for sure. As you are, say what?
Inside the pouch.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be some droppings in that pouch
Mhm.
as you jump out, but that's for the cultists to find later.
Little
We'll
surprises.
continue on while you're heading into the temple. Rathu in the middle of like preening himself and making sure he's good and making sure that he has a proper dropping corner in this pocket to keep himself clean. He doesn't really notice this, but you two do. As you're heading in, you hear the rest of the conversation. I can't believe he actually did it. I still don't think he actually did it. I think he's lying to us just to try and make his place. I mean, sure, Troder would lie, but he wouldn't lie about this. That man would lie about anything if it would advance his station. I don't know. I think he did it. And you never really get a good explanation of what the thing is, but you did specifically hear the name Troder. Rathu does not hear this, as he is too busy preening himself. But you are now in the temple, in these pouches still. And as you get in, you can hear a vague murmuring through the temple. It seems like some news is going to be disseminated soon, and people are milling about, usually talking about just average things of the day, but there's an air of excitement, an air of waiting. There's a lot of pregnant pauses in conversation.
I'm going to call flashback and assume that we had a plan for meeting up kind of at an elevated spot once we had gotten into the temple.
Yeah. So as you were in flight through the forest on this hot air balloon, and Mischief is kind of giving a lowdown on some other things in the town. Mischief, you describe where in the temple that you know as being a thief around town, is a good place to be able to hide in here and watch things without being seen.
All right. So, listen. If we do go into the temple, and you know that's a big if, we don't know yet where this murderer is. Listen. If we go into the temple, there's going to be, on either side, there's going to be a couple of stairs that go up. Ignore them. Just go past them. And after them, there's going to be a couple of poles that have like ornate poles that have a little thing of metal going around them. Sort of like what's it called? Like a spiral.
Mhm.
So that'll work for you both. I'll just meet you on top of the and he shudders again. Catwalk.
I'll mutter,
All right.
wouldn't be the first time Rathu has spiraled today.
And it's at that moment is when an arrow pierces the hot air balloon and you start to spiral down to the top of the wall. And we cut back to all of you in the temple. You very quickly, already knowing, you look up to the right and you can see this pole with this coil going up that you can see is kind of reminiscent of a snake, of snake scales going up, but at the top of it, rather than a snake head, there is a dragon head. And you all can designated the one off to the right as the one to get to, and you very quickly because of the power of flashback, you're able to hop out of these pouches and scramble up to kind of perching in the mouth of this ornately carved dragon head that can fit all three of you pretty comfortably. And you can sit there and really get a good look at this temple. And what you see is at the front there's a big tiered kind of staircase with platforms leading up to a main stage. The podium has a large space to stand behind it. The front of the podium has these 5 dragon heads carved in wood coming up that seem to all have their separate distinct features. And you can see people milling about, kind of passing, like walking back and forth across the stage. You can see there are, besides the spaces upstairs, towards the catwalks and towards some of the upper rooms, there are also 2 very distinct back rooms that seem like if this was a concert hall, this would be places backstage, like to a green room maybe. And you see a number of people milling about. All of you, please give me a clever check.
4.
7.
4, 6, 7. You see a number of people that might be that mage hunter, but it's hard to tell between the crowd and the elevation, and you never saw their face. So you do see it looks to be like 4, 5 different people that have what might be the same hair, and they seem to be wearing boots, but you can't, from this elevation, you can't tell if there are pants there or not. You can see like maybe 4 different likely candidates.
I lean over to Rathu and say, "Hey, want to go tadpole hunting again?"
I immediately reply, just, we need to keep focused here. I know your thing is like the jokes and the jacket and like she's dead, okay? Like we need to can we look for armor? Maybe does anybody see armor?
And Rathu, this is when we flash back. Not a planned flashback, but a storytelling flashback to you with your father. Rathu,
Oh, no.
Rathu the Second, Esquire, sending you out from home, out from the burrow, to be assigned to get to Lillian. This is 4 days ago. Son, as you know, we Rathus have led some of the most impressive magic users to their heights. We expect great things of you as well. Now, you must mind your temper. You also must... Look at me. You must use that focus for a purpose, rather than letting yourself get stuck on these one scattered idea that you may have that can change at the drop of a dime, but once you pick one, you stay laser to it. You must remember that focus is a power and a hindrance. Good luck, my son. I expect great things of you.
So after recalling my father, I realize that I am not my actions are not that of a gentleman, but of a panicked amateur. And I'm realizing that I'm never going to get anything accomplished unless I actually do the thing I'm supposed to be here to do. So Rathu collects himself and apologizes for his outburst before returning back to scanning the crowd again, while again the words echoing in his head.
Hearing the apology, I flick my ashes at him.
Give me a fierce check, opposed by a quick check once more.
5.
6.
6? So the ashes, they do hit you. And I'd like to flash back again to the moment that you two met.
Where he
When
flicked ashes
Rathu
on me then,
first, when Rathu first came to Lillian's hut, and she's opened the door for you, and she's knelt down to get closer to your level, and she looks to you, Rathu.
Hmm.
It's a pleasure to have you here. You'll be well liked by everyone else. Just one thing. Bart has a peculiar way of showing that he cares. I'm still figuring out exactly when it is caring and when it is not. But sometimes, it seems like he's being mean and standoffish. And sometimes he means it. Other times, he does mean it to test you. To see if... Oh, how did he croak it? To see if you can hang. And we fade back to in this temple.
Seeing that, Mischief turns to Bart and says, "Hey, do you want to see if these 4 people can hang?" And so you still have your booze and your ashes. So how about we spray a little bit of booze under robes, and then you just flick some ashes at them and see who feels the heat. And the
I
person who
like this.
and the person that doesn't feel the heat means that they have something underneath rather than just being all balls out.
While they're discussing this, Rathu is squeaking more than speaking and brushing off ashes and cleaning his fur again, just kind of miffed.
Yeah.
Mutters something about a lame frog under his breath as he's...
So what would you all like to do?
I'm going to reluctantly
arson.
look at my fly whiskey and just kind of mourn what I'm about to do because it's meant to be ingested. And I don't know if
Very
this is
true.
I don't know if this is the last I'm gonna get since, Lil's we're on a mission to revive her, but we don't know. So I'm willing, but I'm also kind of like a little mournful and hesitant about it.
For sure.
So seeing the acquiescence, I will cast Unseen Hand to grab the tiny bottles of whiskey, and then hope to just behind these 4 people just dampen just as little spot as much as I can for each one of them with the bottle, which
Okay.
I'm assuming is not going to be that much.
Yeah.
And then Rathu is going to, while he's moving the bottle, I'm going to cast Distract. If there's a chandelier, I don't remember if someone mentioned, right?
There
Or
are a number of
candle.
big chandeliers and yeah.
I throw Distract at these chandeliers to make them moving around, making jingling noises, just so that there's like a little bit of something going on that people are looking not directly at this bottle floating, but at a bigger object.
Okay.
I'm gonna cast
That
Conjure
will-
Dinner and create just a loaf of bread because I eat my feelings.
Now, is the loaf of bread human-sized or toad-sized?
It's toad sized.
Okay. I
Let's not
just
get
wanted to know.
ridiculous.
You just got like a little like a couple like toad-sized like Hawaiian sweet rolls. Not a sponsor yet, please. I've got to do it at least once an episode. But you have like just some Hawaiian sweet rolls that are toad-sized to eat, and that distraction cast will definitely make the role I'm about to ask for easier. Because Mischief, I'm going to need a combination sly and then clever check. The sly is to make sure you don't get caught. The clever is just how well you're able to like whiskey spritz these robes to set them up for being lit.
All right. So first roll. So first you want this sly.
It doesn't matter which you do before. You just need to tell me which one's which.
All right. I mean, just keep it honest. I'll do sly and then clever,
Okay,
so that I don't pick and choose based on the
fair
attributes.
enough.
All right, sly is at 10. Clever. Oh, phew, a 9.
Okay. And you're dousing the 4 people that you rode in on, or the 4 people that might be the lookalike?
The 4 that we think might be.
Okay, great.
You're really
yes.
lucky familiars.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you are. Like if I can cut to out of the story for a second. I've played this a number of times a couple weeks ago with some middle schoolers that I was helping run a class for, and through both games, only one familiar each time survived. So the fact that none of you have a single point of danger yet is impressive to me.
I'll take it.
What can
There's
I
also
say?
both
My middle name
times-
is Danger.
Yeah.
Wait,
Oh,
Bartholomew,
That's not
Todrick,
what
Danger, Johansson.
got a long name.
Yep.
I just keep adding to it.
I love it. I mean, it's probably the no points of danger is because you've actually used your flashbacks, unlike the middle schoolers. They kind of forgot they existed. So you this bottle floats down and kind of splashes the back of the robes pretty equally. And also there's even the tiniest bit of a gulp still left. And you think it's definitely sufficient to be able to light them,
I'm going
depending
to
on
take,
how you light them.
I'm going to
Yeah, like-
take the last gulp, and I assume that I always have just like a small thimble with me. I'm going to pour a thimble and offer it up to the other 2. Just as sort of like a last cheers kind of thing.
Absolutely. We're gonna say that you
Rathu-
have the leather jacket of many things.
Yes.
Rathu is hesitant, but it is impolite to decline a drink offered, especially by a senior, so he takes some.
Mischief also doesn't want to be impolite, so with his beak closed, just dips it in and says, nothing like wetting my beak.
As you take this this shot of camaraderie, I'd like all of you to make fierce checks.
4.
8.
4. Oh, we lost a cat for a moment. There we are.
That's a 3.
So we got 3. We've got 3. We've got
Yeah.
4. And then what'd you get?
8.
8. Okay. Bart and Rathu, you both, this whiskey, gets at you a little bit. I mean, Bartholomew, it's because you've had some already today. Rathu, alcohol's not really a thing that you've ever had around. Like, your father and your grandfather would sometimes sip, like, maybe a droplet or 2 of, like, some fine brandy. But it was never a thing for you, especially during your training, because you've got to keep your mind sharp. So this is a relatively new sensation for you. So remember on your stats for a little bit, your clever is going to go down by 1, but both of you, your fierce is going to go up by 1. Because you got just a little bit of that liquid courage in you. Mischief, you are unaffected. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna look to both of them and say, "Feeling fly."
Always.
So now we
What?
need to light the robes. Rathia, what fire do we use here? Like you wanted to distract them with fire, but
Oh,
I
I
don't think you can.
flick my ashes, right? Yeah.
We'd have to
You
get
can
much
certainly try
closer,
that.
I assume.
Yeah.
You would have to get closer. The chandelier distraction absolutely can be a distraction. As far as because it's something more important like this, I'm gonna say that your distract spell can't work to light this, just because it's a little more important than it being the distraction.
The chandeliers, are there ropes going from the columns to secure them, or are they just kind of hanging down by themselves?
The chandeliers are not roped but chained. But the chains do have a pulley system to bring them down in order to make them easier to clean.
Right. Mischief, even though he's so unaffected by liquor, feels the courage go up a little bit. He turns to Rathiu and Bart and says, you focus on getting down there. Let me handle the distraction. And Mischief looks for the person that looks like the most important or visible there.
Okay.
A- and-
It's a woman with a it looks she is in the same blue and purple robes, but hers have a hood that's up that comes up kind of like a cobra's hood. But then you can see in the stitching as well as in some of the extra fabric in the lining that although it comes up as a cobra's hood, it is a dragon's head.
All right. So I just need to ask one clarifying question of you. Familiars, biology. If we eat something, does it go out, or is it just magical and that part of biology
You-
doesn't?
Unlike D&D familiars, you are not necessarily fey creatures. You are regular animals that have been magically tethered to the witch. So you are not
Alright.
fey creatures, so biologically, yes, you can take a bird shit on this person.
That I'm going to dive bomb a bird shit on this person. Exactly.
All right. I will let you choose which of your stats you want to use for this dive bomb. It will affect how this goes about differently, depending on which one you choose, as well as the difficulty. But I'll give you an opportunity to use whichever stat you want to try and use. Because, like, if you try and do it sly, then you probably won't be noticed, but the poop would be in a particularly distracting place. If it's clever, then it's going to be in a place that is going to be noticeable but harder to clean. If you do it quick, there's going to be less danger to yourself. And if you do it fierce, there will be more danger to yourself, but it will be a much bigger distraction.
Well, you know what? Mischief is not very fierce. I mean, it's not his safe stat. But this is for Lillian. And we need to figure out who the fuck this to Lillian, and we need to bring her back. So this is going to be fierce.
Okay, get after it.
And that's a 4.
A 4.
Yep.
Okay. So, as you two, Rathiu and Bart, are climbing down this kind of spirally dragon pole, you watch as Mischief kind of flies up, gets this height, and Mischief then lets out a kind of a squawk, if you'd like to do it for me. And then dive bombs, basically like pinning the wings to their sides as he just dives down to make sure that he gets the notice of everyone before doing this, and dives at the head of this cult, and then at the end of this dive tries to pull up and use the force of that quick change in momentum and direction to help fling just this goopy, globby, white, wet bird shit just directly to the center, to the chest of this cult leader. The problem is that squawk, it was a little too high up and loud. You were noticed before you started to dive bomb, really. So although everyone sees you, everyone sees this, and the poop does land, you do, as you are in the midst of that quick turn to try and get up and away and out of the way, you are hit by a large tome in the hands of this cleric, and so you will take 1 point of danger.
Okay.
Which now means that Mischief, if you roll a 1 on a particularly difficult check, and that's a 1 total,
Okay.
which I don't think with your stats is possible right now. If you roll a 1 total, something bad enough to take you out of the story will happen.
Okay. I guess does the distraction work?
Yes, it certainly does. But you have been hit with this tome, and you're kind of flung off and away and dazed. And people are certainly aware of where you are and that you did something. But you are just a bird. You're just a very bold bird for some reason. And you've been hit. But what do Rathu and Bartholomew do with this opportunity as everyone is looking over at this scene that is happening?
I think we rushed to the closest person that had been hit by the booze.
Okay.
And then Rathu as well, he's going to recall which pocket he keeps his small matches in, Bart. He's going to kind of grab one, and as he runs by, he's like, I'll get these two, you get those, and I make the closest possible path in the direction of Mischief, where I can get both of the people who have the booze on them.
You try and like get to and then get to Mischief.
Yeah, so like I've got the match in my mouth, and I'm going to strike it across the ground, and then just kind of run past and let the flames lick where the booze are on the way to Mischief to try to render aid.
All right. I'm gonna say, knowing Bart, even for this short time, you would know that any pocket is equally likely to have a small flask and or matches. So like it's like a 50-50 coin flip that you're going to get a match no matter what pocket you reach in. So like you easily are able to do that. Give me a quick check to see if you can get both of these people lit in the same sweep.
I got a 7.
7.
Yes.
You absolutely are able to, as you run by, you catch the expertly doused small areas of whiskey on these two people's robes. We'll get to what happens as a result of that after. Bart, what are you doing?
I'm going to run up to one of the two people that haven't been hit yet, hop up on their back, light a match, and light it. And then as people turn into that person, because of the distraction, I'm going to hop to the other one and light a match on their back as well. And then
All
hop to
right.
the ground and hit a flask.
Okay. I should have known better with all of you, and I should have added an extra skill for panache. So I'm gonna ask, in the way that you're trying to do this, are you trying to be quick? Are you trying to be hidden?
I'm trying to be quick.
Okay, then give me a quick check.
8.
8. You are also able to, without really being noticed, because everyone is looking at this fucking bird that came down and shit and then got hit, and what in the nine hells, and how did that bird get in here, and is that a bird from here? I can't, is African or European? I can't tell. And you are able to light, so all of these 4 people have small flames that you kind of simultaneously of light, and Rathu, as you're kind of skidding around to where Mischief is, Bart, you standing kind of watching what you have just set into motion as you
Yeah, and
on like
as,
just a little beat of wheat or something.
Yeah, as Rathu like runs toward Mischief, I'm gonna like kind of keep one eye on Mischief and also like kind of hop towards the nearest pole to get up to an elevated spot just to watch the people who've been lit on fire to see what the reactions are.
Okay. Then we're gonna split things again. Mischief, you've just been hit. You've been dazed, and people are kind of coming over toward you to take a look. What would you like to do? You're still kind of in a daze. What would you like to do to kind of get out of this situation? And you do see Rathu kind of screaming towards you to get to you to help.
all right. Because I'm dazed, I don't think I can fly very well. So I'm just going to like spread my wings to make myself look bigger, like squawk loudly, and just fly just high enough that like one right height up, so that if Bradley runs underneath me, I can just like kind of perch for a moment and just ride him out.
This is hilarious. I'll need a fierce check from you, and from Rathu. This is a combination move with someone you have known only a few days. I'm gonna need a clever check.
Oh no. Oh no. 4 clever.
A 4 clever. Okay. And that's a 3 fierce. So, this is kind of sloppy. If this wasn't such an important situation for you all, you might look back on this and laugh. As Rathu, remind me of your dignified gentleman rat clothes.
Mostly just kind of like a cheaper monocle and like a suit vest.
Okay, yeah. So, Rathu,
Little bow tie, of
absolutely.
course.
In
I didn't bring my top
his
hat.
monocle and vest, the top hat's back with the ruined hot air balloon.
Yes. Too formal
Uh,
for what we're doing.
Absolutely. You, as you're running, and you take a look up at Mischief, like, you know what to do. And
Yeah.
Mischief kind of floats up and squawks their little beak out. And everyone, and the people that are getting closer are just confused. And Rathu, you run right underneath Mischief, who tries. You don't really have like talons because you are a magpie. You're a smaller bird, and you just kind of hook your feet into Rathu's vest, rather than really getting a good perch on him, and you're kind of pulled along as Rathu. You kind of run and dart behind, like, we'll say a curtain or something to try and get behind or hide behind. And I'm going to say this, like, whiplash of being pulled that quickly that you weren't ready for is going to cause you to have another point of danger, Mischief, as well as Rathu. It doesn't hurt anything but your pride, because your vest gets torn. I'm sorry.
So when we get behind this tapestry or curtain or object, I'm gonna immediately turn and say, "Hey, I know the situation was tough. I know, but like my I'm my dad gave me this. Like,
Uh, we say Lillian, she'll cast mend or thought something on you.
yeah, but now I don't look they're gonna know that I look like a common rat. I'm
Hey,
And
Hey,
this bit of a freak out causes you to have a single point of danger, Rathu.
aw.
hey, look at me. Look at me.
Rathu focuses.
You are a good-looking rat. You are
Really?
You said something about your dad. Fuck him. You're worth more than he thinks. Think of how much Lillian values you. Fuck.
Now, as this
Rathu
touching
just goes
moment
like,
of camaraderie and self-worth happens, Bartholomew, I'd like you to give me what may be one of the more important clever checks of this one shot.
This is a real bad time to have liquid courage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
That's a 4.
It's a 4. You notice out of the people that were lit on fire, because that whole chase scene away was a lot to try to only be half paying attention to,
Mm.
because honestly, like, after you know that your companions are okay, that's fucking funny. Uh, you see two of the four candidates definitely reacting to the fire and like immediately feeling it and trying to put it out. And there's another two that don't, at least as far as you can tell. The differences between these two, neither of them are wearing the pretty common circlet round. One is a man, one is a woman. They look similar enough that they might be related. But that is the only difference, is that you can tell is that you can tell masculine and feminine features from this close between the two of them, but other distinguishing features really aren't there.
At this point, has the scene that we saw at the witch's house earlier in the day been described in detail enough to me that I know that it was a man that killed Lillian?
You do not. No
Do
one,
not.
in fact, knows.
Okay.
You could not tell any kind of masculine or feminine features from the first time that was that you saw the witch hunter up to now.
Okay.
The most defining features were the lack of a circlet and the slicked back black hair.
All right. So I'm going to wait until it's calmed down enough that things have kind of started to resume in whatever proceeding is happening in the cult temple. And I'm going to sneakily go up behind both of the ones that I know did not react and smear some ashes on the back bottom part of their robe to kind of demarcate them, so I know which ones as they're leaving and can go out and join the others.
Okay.
I did have a quick question. You said that they weren't reacting to the fire. Do you mean like they're just standing there burning, or do they just like?
The fire doesn't happen that long. Like, it flares up, and immediately recognizing the heat, two of them turn and pat it out. The other two, it takes a second before they like, oh gods, what is that? But you can tell that two of them didn't react to the heat of it. They reacted to more like smelling the smoke.
Got it.
Because I remember that was your aim of trying to do that whole lighting thing, so I'm gonna give you that.
Sure.
Okay.
But you two, kind of hiding behind a thing, trying to have gotten away, you do not know of these two.
Yes.
And as you were kind of, we're gonna say, for the sake of you being hurt, what would you do in this moment while I describe what else is going on and have Bartholomew do this important role once again? What are you two doing in the moments after, when you've had this bit of camaraderie and you're hiding behind the thing?
All right. So Mischief's still talking. So don't think about what your dad would do. Think about what you, the third, would do.
Rathu takes this into account as he's trying to think of his next plan. I do have a quick question. For this curtain, I assume we are now behind the altar. Are we on the left or the right side when facing altar?
When you're facing the altar, I'm gonna say you're on, so it would be house left, stage right. So if you're looking at it left.
Got it. Okay. We definitely used enough time to like kind of get the lay of the land. Is there was another ornate pole we can climb there, or I'm
Yeah,
trying to
there's
recall
another
if there was
one
a quick way
nearby.
to escape. I asked Mischief, are you confident enough to be able to get, like, are you good now? Can you get out? Can you, like, dive away? I can try to do my rat distract and run in a different direction. Like, are you good to go?
Yeah, I think so.
So in that case, Rathu fixes his clothes one more time, kind of like rubs down the small rip in the clothing before kind of scampering up this curtain straight up. And like in more, not so much like in the open, but in a way you can, like, on the edge of it, so you can see that the rat is now going straight up, because I'm assuming everyone's still staring at this curtain that we ran to.
Yeah, they really are.
I
Uh,
figured. So yeah, Rathu kind of goes out, so you can tell that the rat's like scampering up the side of this straight up,
okay,
and I just go for speed.
okay. I'll need a quick check from you.
That would be, oh no, 4.
4. This isn't a dire thing, thankfully for you. So there won't be an incursion of a point of danger, but you will. It's not. So after this moment of being confident, being pumped up by mischief, you're ready. You're like, I can do this. I can do anything. And this scampering up, up this like kind of tapestry thing, it's not. You make it up there, but it is not graceful. It is. You are.
And
You are certainly a rat climbing a tapestry.
Fair enough.
And so people know you're there, and people see and they're just like, huh. But that may have worked in your favor, because you definitely appear to be an average rat. Mischief, how are you getting out of here?
I guess as Wrath is scampering out, I'll just pick a the side that looks more open from the tapestry, and then just start like fly out and then up.
Okay.
Up
Are
into,
are
like,
you
that-
going to are you trying to be unnoticed, or are you trying to just zoom?
Yeah, like just zoom, like by the side of the wall, just
Give me a quick check.
12.
You're able to just very quickly up and out of the way. And like, yeah, you're still that weird bird. People are still aware that you're that weird bird, but you're just like, you're up and away, and people like can only kind of see you up and away. Now, as this like quick scamper to scamper again, Bartholomew, as you're watching and you see this, you want to smear ashes on the 2 that did not react to the heat. Are you trying to not be noticed doing this?
I am trying not to be noticed, but trying more so to make sure that there is a visible mark that we will be able to see. So that takes priority, but I am also like conscious of not wanting to be seen.
Okay. I will need a clever check to see how well you do, and a sly
God.
check to see how sneaky you are.
So clever first, then sly to be above board. Ha ha ha. That's a 3 clever
Okay.
and an 11 sly.
Okay. So you are able to toad scamper over to these 2 while everyone is watching this rat and this bird kind of flit out from underneath the tapestry. You are able to hop up, and you get, they're already kind of a deep purple and blue on the robes, so it's hard to see this ash, but you do definitely mark both of them. You're just not sure how visible it's going to be if you were like in the dark, or if like even in this place that it is big and there are large windows, and I'd say daytime wise it's about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Even through these windows with like some of the torches and magically lit chandeliers, it's still a little tough to see them. In broad daylight, you probably could. But you know this one thing for certain. They don't know they've been marked by a toad.
Inconspicuous.
I really like
Trying
that
to say
sentence.
that seriously.
Totally.
Oh.
Oh,
It was inevitable.
Yep.
I'm going to trust that. You said that they both were the only two not wearing some kind of pendant. Is that right?
Circlet.
Circlet. Between that and the ashes, I'm going to trust that I have marcated them enough to know which two. And so I'm going to go out to join Mischief, wherever Mischief has gone.
So Mischief is kind of flitted up to the catwalk, and
I'm going to try and get up one of the pillars again, I guess.
Yeah. that's with all of the kerfuffle as well as people trying to get back to the proceedings at hand. This isn't going to take any effort for you to all kind of get up to a place high up and reconvene. I'll give you that because you were relatively successful at all of the rest of this. And so you are up top again.
At which point I will point out to the two that I had tried to mark and that they were both missing that ringlet.
Mm-hmm.
So
you two...
Rathu will definitely comment that is extremely clever for a frog.
And I will roll my eyes and try not to let the condescension tear us asunder.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. All right. So you sit up here, and as the proceedings start to get back underway, the woman that Mischief you took a giant bird shit on, they've kind of wiped down their vestments. You can still see there's a little bit of a splotch because, you can never really get bird poop all the way off of you, especially not quickly. So there's still that, like, just... Robes. Yeah. Oh, and they were... like, most of these robes are pretty nice. Hers are, like, extra nice. And so that splotch is just gonna be there. And she steps up to the podium, and in a magically enhanced voice, she calls out, "My flock, my minions of Tiamat, my loyal subjects. We have struck a decisive blow against the terrible miscreants of the forest, those followers of Bahamut who do their magic for the greater good of the universe. The liars!" And you can hear hisses all through the crowd. "Liars, liars, liars. They say it is for the greater good of the world, but they know it is just for themselves. Our agent, Troder, has struck down the Witch of the Forest." And this, there are cheers that come up from the crowd. And you all, this is obviously Lillian that they're talking about, but Lillian, she's not affiliated with any of these people in the woods. She's just been living alone with you. She doesn't really interact with other people, so to hear that they think she's an agent of any kind of warfare is baffling to all of you. With this done in the morning, rather than stay on the defensive, we strike back at these pathetic followers of a useless god. Tonight, prepare yourselves, for tomorrow we truly go to war. And you can hear cheers and shouts, all these people giving their different thoughts and feelings of misbelief that some of you hear little bits and pieces of disbelief that Troder can actually do anything. And the meeting seems to be adjourned. And people start to file out of the temple, some of them sticking around. What would you like to do?
I think we should follow the ringlet people, right? Or unringleted people.
And I wanted a quick bit of clarification. We heard them say they were surprised that Troder could do anything, like as in like they were, what's the word, insinuating that he was like useless or
Yes.
like not.
That is
Okay.
yeah. That's exactly what you get from that. Is like, wait, Schroeder did some like he accomplished some. Okay. Wow. All right. All right. Broken clock is right twice a day. Okay.
Pictures becoming.
When they mentioned that it was Troder, do we know that it was him and not her? Was it made clear? Like, did they have him stand up or?
They didn't have a particular person stand up, but I will have all of you give me a clever check to see if you can infer either from people's reactions in the crowd or from the reaction to what was said, if you can recognize if Troder's masculine or feminine at least.
Do oh geez, I was is the liquid courage still in effect for our modifiers?
Yes, yes it is.
Okay.
That's a 3.
I don't want to. I don't.
Oh no. That's a 1. So you
Yeah.
didn't roll under your danger, which is
Yeah,
good.
barely. Just have a panic attack and die right there.
Well,
That would be awful.
the rules of the
Like,
game
Schroeder did
necessitate
it? Aw.
the rules of the game would kind of necessitate that.
I would understand. I'd just be disappointed.
Would you roll
I have a little
mischief?
mouse, a little rat heart attack.
10.
10. So mischief. You're used to watching people, to watch the time to strike to steal from them. This is your thing. You watch people. You read people. You know when people are up to some shady nonsense. When she first said Troder, kind of announcing his accomplishment to the crowd, you could absolutely see the masculine looking one try to hold in the excitement. You just see a smile creep across his face and just that little look of, yeah, I fucking did that. You notice that. You have figured out that Troder is definitely the masculine of the two.
Alright. So it was given away by the male ego. Gotcha.
Yes, absolutely. The downfall of every clever plan is the male ego. That is the synopsis of this story.
So as I as I was looking at that, just did I get a sense that the cult leader was involved somehow, or
You think that this might have been like a called hit?
all right? So so that guy, that one, the one, and they point towards the one that smiled.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's Trotter. He smiled when lady said that he killed Lillian.
When Mischief points out the person who he believes is the killer, Rathu definitely starts grinding his teeth a little bit in anger. Just normal rat behavior coming out with him being like realizing who did it.
Mm-hmm. You definitely have your target. You know who it is. You've seen his face now. As people start to file out of the temple, he starts to head off out of the temple alone. He was with some other people sitting there, but he separates from the group and starts to head north in the town. Would you like to... I'll say there's a chance that you can lose him following him. but depending on how close you follow, there might be an element of danger, as you might be noticed. Because it does occur to you before you start to follow him that he came out to kill Lillian. He probably knows that she has familiars. He might even know who you are. So I'll say
So-
on a scale of 1 to 3, when you're following him, how close are you?
Before I answer that, I assume we were told that he marked with ashes, correct?
Yes.
And these ashes are his toad smokes.
Yes.
In that case, is it possible for us, or for Rathu specifically, to follow based on scent?
It
Since
is
it
possible.
smells very specifically like toad smoke, which I
It
assume
is
most
possible.
humans aren't smoking.
You are right.
Then
Yeah, I'll
I
factor that
suggest-
into your being able to track him. Yeah.
Okay, so I would suggest then, since we know who he is, that he's marked, and that we need his eyes, obviously we should follow at a farther or at the distance of which I can smell better. I feel like that would be 2, probably not super far back, right?
Yeah.
So then, yeah, I would suggest like a medium range, back far enough that we're hidden, but we can still smell and follow through that.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
I-
yeah, go for it.
No, go ahead. I'm still formulating this.
So I was going to. That sounds good. Also, I can fly higher up to just be a bird and try to keep an eye out on him while trying to keep pace with you all.
I'm going to cast Conjure Dinner and conjure up another 2 Hawaiian sweet rolls that are just big enough for Rathu and I to hide inside, kind of hollow out.
I love it.
Absolutely. Because you are using your spell, I would like you to give me. It's still a clever roll, but it's going to be clever +2.
Oh my god, that's a 3.
Ooh.
I'm glad you used your spell for the +2. So these
Wait,
rolls.
To clarify, still under like liquid courage, right?
Yes, that is correct. Actually,
Okay,
no,
so
it
3.
would have worn off at this point.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
Because you were only a
4.
little buzzed. It only lasted a little bit.
So
And you-
4.
And you have to eat the bread to hollow it out. So
Yeah.
you have something. in
Oh,
your
true,
stomach.
true. Sober up a little bit.
So, yeah, both of your liquid courage stat shifts have definitely gone away. So that's a
Okay.
4. So you conjure these rolls. They're definitely big enough for you to hide in. Hollowing them out, it's a little clunky to move and stay hidden. So you don't know if you could attempt to be an inconspicuous roll sliding along the ground. But if you were to stay still, you'd probably still be hidden. Think Solid Snake's cardboard box.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Absolutely, Metal Gear Solid cardboard box, but a Hawaiian roll.
All right.
Oh yeah.
All right. So you're gonna follow kind of at a mid-distance. Mischief, you're gonna take the aerial view. Is that kind of what I'm gathering?
I did have
Alright,
a
and
small
you are-
question about. We are obviously magically linked at some level. Are we able to kind of like understand where each other are and like where like spatially aware, like within a distance, or
Yeah.
any type of like longer distance connect? I'm just curious to see like.
You've got kind of that thin familiar connection where you can feel if something bad happens. You can feel strong emotions, and you can get kind of a like vague area of like, yeah, they're there-ish. And it's a very tenuous connection, but yeah, I'd say you have that. And if
Okay.
there's ever a point of like strong emotions, like when Rathu started to flip out, you did feel this pang of worry for like a second.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say that for a connection between familiars, absolutely.
That's just for clarification of future decisions and influences.
Yeah, I feel you. So still
Alright.
the mid range follow with the mischief I guess
Yeah.
chopper cam.
Sounds good for me.
All right, I would like all of you to give me sly checks.
Three.
That's an 11.
That's an 11.
3,
Three.
11, 11.
I'm not doing good right now.
So Rathu, your sense of smell. You're trying to use mostly your sense of smell to follow him. You are in a very
Inside of this
delicious
people.
smelling roll of bread.
I did see this problem coming.
Yep. So you really, the disguise is great, but you can't smell anything but this delicious, delicious bread. Bart, however, not having a nose, is not stopped by this problem. Or, it's not having a nose, but like, smell is not the way that toads usually handle things. So the distraction is slim. And Mischief, with this aerial view, you're able to keep track of him pretty well. You're able to stay like mostly with him even when he turns corners in the town, and it looks like he heads to a combination tavern and inn. The sign on it, it's got words. You're sure they're words. There's also the picture of a stool that seems to be on its side, and that is like the sign of the inn. And he goes, as you follow him kind of from a distance, you're able to follow him well enough that you know he's inside this inn.
He's in sight.
Yes.
Ooh.
You've summoned the judgmental ghost.
Come on, that was pretty inventive.
Oh, come on.
Y'all are
you
gonna
say
drive me
we're-
insane.
Would you say I've towed the line between inventive and wonderful?
Well,
You
as
have-
long as you did it intentionally.
You have towed that line as long as I've known you.
Interesting.
Rathu is disappointed.
So yeah.
He can't hear this of us talking, but he can sense something's wrong.
Yeah. It's
So you're saying his intuition is very good.
Yeah.
Especially when he just got us to roll with it.
Yeah.
there's somewhere there's a person in a long-term relationship in the town that just someone tell a terrible fucking joke.
Oh no.
Just the fed up partner. So yeah, you know that your target is well within this inn. It is about, I'd say, like 3:30, 4 o'clock. It's getting closer to the dinner time. You know that the sunset is at about like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So you've still got some daylight. You've also got some time to wait and rest if you think that would be useful before going in to try and confront this dude. And you would know that taking some time to rest, depending on how long you take to rest, could let you relax from that feeling of danger that surrounds you.
That might not be a bad idea because if he's eating dinner, it's probably with other people.
Rathu is definitely still anxious. More wanting to do things quickly here. But at the same time, the inn is obviously an extremely populated area, and at a place he's never been. He's already had a lot of human for one day, and is more hesitant to immediately jump in, but is still like we should get some progress.
Yeah, so why we can wait on the roof for a little while and we can just take turns watching the doors.
Rathu's good with guard duty. He'd take first shift.
how long would you like to wait? I'm gonna say for each, because in D&D 5th edition, a short rest is an hour, and you can roll hit dice. So I'd say that each point of danger is an hour of rest.
How long is it between current time and what we would assume to be sundown?
You said it
You've
was
got
3
a
to
good-
7, so about 4.
Yeah, you've got a good like 4 hours most likely.
Okay.
I would assume if we're going to be standing guard as well to watch, that period of time wouldn't be a rest time for each individual person if they were actively watching. and
I'm
serving,
gonna say
right?
unless something happens on your watch, you'll still be able to get that rest.
Okay.
But there's a chance that something will happen on your watch that if there's something strenuous, which is how they word it in 5th edition, which is just kind of how I'm building the short rest mechanic in as we're going. If it's something strenuous, it can knock out the use of that time, but you can still do little things like keep watch.
Oh, should we just do an 1 hour and then just go about the inn, see if there's ways in? While there's
Yeah.
still sunlight.
I'm good with at least an hour. Rathu also, while we're discussing taking the rest and watching the inn, Rathu's brain is spinning, trying to figure out like what to do, what's the next step, and kind of thinks about if we're trying to inevitably get eyes from a person, we want to get this person at their most vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
And discussing this with his compatriots is more when should we strike? We could wait for dinner, we could wait for him to be sleeping, but if he leaves, like what do we do? But if he leaves, we could follow him to like a secluded area, or maybe he'd be more distracted not in the inn trying to do a goal, or would it be better if we jump in now? We could catch him unaware, because why would we come in and he's just spinning and trying to formulate how to proceed.
I have a clarifying question. How
Yes.
long did it take us to get from the witch's hut to the town?
I would say, because it was early in the morning when all that happened, and then you left, and it was about noon when you got there. So I would say it's about a 2-hour transit, depending on
So-
how quickly you're going.
My thought process here, and this is just an idea, if the war starts tomorrow and we assume Schroeder to be relatively incompetent, is there any point in striking tonight, or should we wait until tomorrow when we don't have to do the murder and we can just take the ice?
I don't think. I'm just worried about the amount of chaos and mayhem that's going to be around, or if he's even going to be there. My sense is that we got him in, we're right there.
We've got
So
him right in
let's-
front of us while we.
So, yeah, let's get our big sturdy.
How close is or was Lillian to the followers of Bahamut that are in the forest?
Not at all,
Completely
except for like the same like connection she would have had to anyone in Statbury, where it's purely for like trading food, and occasionally someone would come through to her because as a witch she is also a healer. They have come through, like both sides have sent emissaries to her to try and get her on their side. And she said no to both because she thinks that their war is fucking stupid.
business.
All right,
Because
so
you
I'm
both
going
believe
to
in a stupid sky god that doesn't exist.
I'm going to, as an agent of chaos, still advocate for waiting for our target to pass away in the throes of battle, but will reluctantly go along with the group's decision.
Yeah, and also, Rathu, you said that you memorized the scroll, right?
Yes. of course.
Did it have any pictures or anything about how much time we have? Because do we have? I don't
question.
know if we can wait until tomorrow.
With
I
your
thought we had a
with,
week, right?
Well, that's what it said in the game description.
Okay.
From what you can tell, what you could tell from the scroll, is that because you rolled so high on studying the scroll,
Mhm.
you know that you have up to a week.
Okay.
However, the revival spell loses its potency as time goes on.
Okay. So speed is good, but
Yeah,
not
speed is good, but not exactly necessary.
all right. Hmm.
All
I
right,
think
so sneak inside and scout out the inn.
I think that makes sense. We should definitely rest first. I'm going
Yeah.
to assume that as we're discussing this, it's part of our rest, or we.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we should definitely rest the hour at the very least while we're discussing this and trying to figure it out. Rathy wants to know. Definitely wants to see him again. Make sure he's still there. A little bit paranoid on that as well, but understands that from his understanding of human war, that it would be distraction, and that if a rat doesn't have to fight a guy who killed a witch, that beneficial for him. Also, as a gentleman, murder is still murder. I mean,
Yeah.
revenge murder that he's totally okay with, but like, if avoidable.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Quack.
100. Yeah,
Sorry, I'm formulating how the rest of this is going to go.
of course. And I actually need to excuse myself for the bathroom again. Don't drink a ton of coffee right before D&D. Not great for you.
I mean,
Disagree.
it's a choice.
True.
So we'll go with someone else's watch of this short rest of at least an hour.
I'll go. I'm gonna be aloof about it and kind of like lean up against the roof and kind of like light up and kind of like laid back leather jacket.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Then I will have you give me the clever check.
Oh God. That's a 7.
A 7.
Oh.
As you're watching, you see some different people file in and out of the tavern. You do not see your Mark Troder leave. You know for sure if he might be somewhere else, like inside this building, but he is in here.
Have we confirmed that there is only the one exit?
No. You know that there is a front and a back door.
Okay.
And you've kind of taken like time watching both, and you can tell unless he is a much sneakier person than you are led to believe, he hadn't gotten out without you seeing.
Okay.
So at least an hour has passed. So those of you with danger, you can reduce that danger by 1. So we're gonna say it's roughly 4 o'clock. What would you like to do?
Mischief wants to do a quick, like, fly around the inn, just to see if he notices any. Well, we know about the doors, but if any windows look open or anything.
Okay. Give me. If you're just purely doing a scan to try and see, it can be a clever. If you're trying to make sure that nothing sees you do this, it'll be a sly.
I'm just a weird bird, so I'll do the clever.
Fair enough.
And that's a 3.
A 3. As you take a scan around the tavern, every door, or I'm sorry, every window, you can see that it is 2 floors. It's a building with 2 floors. It's got windows. They aren't open.
Okay.
That's what you can tell.
Alright. That works.
Do you spend
and-
another like hour of rest during this scan watch, or?
I mean, because I'm doing something more than just resting, I'm going to say no. So I'm happy to keep the 1 point of danger. I feel like I've earned it.
Fair enough. All right. You can see that there aren't any open windows. At least for ways to get in, there windows is not going to be your choice.
Rathi's getting a bit anxious here, and when Mischief goes to do his circle, I think Rathu would also kind of do his own similar. Is there a way to like a line or like a tie off or anything that he can run across to the tavern? Since we're not on the tavern, we're across from, correct? Is there a
Yes,
way for
there
him to
is.
like get from rooftop to rooftop so he can like kind of run around, maybe even peek in the windows?
Yeah, you know what? I'll say through the town, there are some different things that are strung, like a bunch of different what are those freaking nonsense
Banners.
festival banner things? Yeah. There's a few of those that stretch from the building that you're on to the tavern.
All right,
So
then
you'd
yeah,
be able
Rathu
to.
would definitely try to get across. Not so much worried about getting seen running across the wire itself, but definitely once on the tavern, would do more of a sneak around to try to like peek in a window or here or there, try to see if he can get eyes on the person we're looking for.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, I'll say that that's going to be a slide check,
Okay.
just to do that rat tightrope walk and then kind of Scooby Doo peer
Oh.
into stuff.
12.
A 12.
Perfect roll.
Yeah. So you see, after you scamper across with no troubles whatsoever. You're a rat on a tightrope. You're good. This is one of those things that for some reason, with your father and your grandfather, this was a thing that you trained to do. Is sometimes familiars need to be able to track their magic user from long distances. Sometimes staying away. You know how we get across places? Wires. And so you're able to just scamper across, no problem. And as you're looking in some of the windows, from along, kind of crawling along the walls and along the roof of this inn, you see, and you watch for a little bit. You see Troder is down at the tavern, down in like the main floor of the tavern, eating. Goes upstairs to there's a hall. There's a kind of a long. It's kind of like what's the best way to describe it? So there's a lower area, the main floor. There's definitely a door that goes probably to a kitchen that's behind a bar. There's three different big tables that are in that area, and people are there eating, drinking. Then there's stairs up to a loft. Loft is the word I was looking for. And up in that loft, there are three big doors that you assume go to private rooms. Troder goes into the one on the far right. If you were like looking at the front of the tavern, on the right side, is the room that Troder went into. And he pops into that room for just a second, and then comes back down and continues to eat.
Okay. Without really considering the fact that he's working with other people, Rathu's going to immediately see if there's a window into that room without relaying any information or trying to go back. He's just going to go around the edge of the building and try to like see if there's like a covered window or if it's open or if, what the situation with that is.
Yeah. I'm not even going to have you roll for this because we've already scoped the place, but there is absolutely a window, and as you creep up to that window, you can see it's a small room. There's a bed. There seems to be like a large armoire. And as you're looking in the window, there's one thing in particular that really, really strikes you. It's still a bit unwashed. A short sword, leaning in the corner, with some flecks of blood still on it.
At this point, is Mischief still above?
I would say yes. I would say Mischief is still circling.
Rathu
And the window
would-
that you see is locked.
Okay. Rathu is gonna get extremely upset and like kind of answer like there's it's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
You both
kind of
feel this, even without needing to see Rathu, you both feel through that familiar link, this like excitement and rage and anxiety and like this is fucking it.
So I'm gonna kind of like squeak like kind of forget speech for a moment, but more just a noise and like kind of like wave my little rat hands, trying to get Mistress' attention and like point at the room, like kind of like bouncing, like it's this one, and just very animated.
So, Mischief notices that and just goes and perches next to Rathiu.
I just pointed the sword. This is 100% the like his room. That's the sword. This is the fucking dude. Got to get his eyes. We got to get him. Like this excited again, like little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mischief just transfixed at the sword, sort of like having like mini flashbacks of that first scene in the morning of just him running away with the sword dripping blood and the brilliant scream.
A lot of emotion.
I hear all this or I like sense all this through the familiar connection and not wanting to appear too excited or enthusiastic about it. I'll just kind of like cross my arms and like saunter over.
All right. Now here's the thing about that. You have two choices of ways across. You can either tightrope it, or you can go along the main street and then try and hop up. Because they are at the second floor. Rats can kind of scamper along things. It's easy. You're a toad.
Am I?
Here's sorry. I'm curious. So if I cast Unseen Hand and sort of put it like underneath like at the head where a toad can jump in, could I carry him or like through juggling, toad juggling, like if the hand can't carry him?
Well, see, you've got your Unseen Hand. And your Unseen Hand can carry... It's not a lot, but it can certainly carry things. This toad is not large. You can absolutely carry Bart in your Unseen Hand.
Would I know from experience whether or not it's the unseen hand of Mischief that's carrying me when I'm grabbed?
I think you know it's Mischief. I don't think you exactly know how Mischief does it, unless you have specifically chosen to explain it.
Everyone else seen the footage where they took a frog into low orbit and it's just kind of like spinning in the air and like
Oh no.
that's just what I'm imagining, floating in the air, spinning uncontrollably.
Well, this fully depends on how the Unseen Hand grabs Bart.
True.
Like, do you scoop up underneath? Do you kind of like grab onto
Scruff
just
him.
the jacket? Do you scruff him?
So here's the thing, because I know, that he's the bad boy that Bart sometimes just can't help himself. So the Unseen Hand will just try to grab him by the head, keeping his mouth shut, sort of like dragging him out.
So you
Like a muzzle.
like
I'm going to lift my arms and legs and pretend that I'm riding a motorcycle because I've got to like maintain some kind of ego throughout this.
hey, give me
Magic motorcycle.
I
I'm trying to think of a
guess-
motorcycle.
I guess it's still a sly check, because that's the closest to charisma that I can think of for these.
That's an 11, baby.
So,
Fucking
Todrick, yeah, Todrick, you're used to this. It's happened a few times, and you still don't fully understand this force that Mischief has, but it just kind of and like grabs you and you levitate and you're just like, yeah, I know what to do. Let's go.
No, I'm going
And-
full chopper, like hands.
Oh,
up
you're going like
and-
full up.
got the
Yeah.
ape hangers.
You've got
Oh
this
no.
full up You even put a little bit of bend in your knees, so you're really perched.
Oh yeah.
While this thing is, while you're being pulled, like pretty much just by your face. Uh, yeah, absolutely. Why not? I will absolutely. I gotta give you something for that role. So like, yeah. If someone were to look up and see you, they would be so interested to know how a toad in a leather jacket, which the leather jacket's normal, is riding an invisible motorcycle, which have those been invented yet? I don't know. We'll figure it out. And you are all now outside this window.
And there's one more thing that I want to try. And so once Bart comes up, drop him, I unsummon the hand, and can I try summoning it from on the other side of the glass?
You can certainly give me a clever check to give this a shot. It's your spell, so the hand, you definitely will know that it's inside the room. Whether you can control it well or not, now that's the question.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Sorry. Yeah. That's a 6.
A 6. Okay. The hand is definitely in there on the other side of this glass. What would you like the hand to do?
All right. So I'm going to try to have the hand. I mean, do I see if the window has like a locking mechanism or a latch or something? Or
You, I'm gonna say as clever as you are, and as long as you've been with the witch in this capacity of as long as you've been with Lillian in this capacity of being a familiar, and as being a thief, you've seen these latches before. But Lillian's always been the one to use her mage hand to open the window for you. You've never tried it on your own through the window. So you've seen it done before. You know it can be done. You don't know if you can.
all right, that's fair. So see the latch. Well, first I want to make. I try to use the hand to see if it's unlocked.
The hand tries just kind of pushing at the window first, and it's definitely locked. And you can see where the latch is, kind of, from your kind of twisting your head and knowing where to look for the latch.
I try to raise the hand to go to the latch.
And with that 6 that you rolled, that was 1 higher than 5, which is what I set it at. Your hand is able to hit the latch and open the window, and you are now inside. You now have an ingress to Troder's room.
Well, shall we?
Rathu, before going in, hesitates for a moment, kind of realizing that we've been here for a little bit. Turns to his companions and says, "I'm gonna go check on him," and runs back to look into the main lobby to like watch, like make sure that if he does get up, I can run or hopefully get back quicker than he can get to the room, to try to like be a warning, just so that if they are going in, one of us should probably know where the guy who's gonna find 3, familiars in his now unlocked window.
As he says that, before he gets away fully, I'm going to say, hope he gets his check soon, as you're going to check on him and put his sunglasses on.
Just roll me a d10, Brain. It's not associated to any stat. Just roll me a d10.
8.
What was that?
8.
So, as he says this, and he says, I hope he gets his check quick, out of a pocket from the inside of his leather jacket, this small little black thing flies up and perches itself on his face. It is a pair of sunglasses.
And Baba O'Reilly starts playing in the background, and
I mean, yes, but don't sing it because we can't afford that. Uh,
Or just the first half when it's all the synth.
yeah. But yes, that
Uh,
absolutely happens as Rathu, you scamper down. I will need a sly check.
As I scamper, I'm like, he doesn't even have ears. How does that stay up?
Yeah,
Eh.
it's a mystery of
What
magic.
is going on?
I have nondescript alcoholic tea up my nose. Thank you.
No, yeah, of course. I'm 3.
3. Okay. You certainly get down there. You were more concerned about making sure that you don't lose him than you were about not being seen with how the quickness of the scamper goes. So, I'm going to give him, as a regular dude, a clever roll to try to beat your sly to see if he notices a rat scamper across the window. Whether he notices anything specific about the rat, well, that's up to a clever check on his part. But first, it's just to notice if you're there.
Oh no.
He continues
It's either
eating and
great or
drinking as though
terrible. Let's
nothing
go.
happened.
Let's go. Little rat.
Just
flex.
gonna, for the sake of tradition.
Yeah. I'll
So
take it,
you
I'll
are
take it.
you are perched on this window. He appears to not have noticed you or anything outside of his small scope of his. It looks like he's eating a quail and some potatoes with a large ale in front of him.
Gonna say we might have to stop for some lunch or dinner, I guess, at some point here. This guy is really engrossed.
But for Mischief and Bartholomew, you are.
How come the bird gets a dog?
Oh, he's a bird dog.
Would that be counterproductive?
Eh. It's good for hunting, but a traitor. Oh,
Nice.
I need nothing more from this stream.
Obligatory pet moment.
All right. As you are, as Rathu goes to do this recon, Bartholomew and Mischief, you have this guy's full room. It's relatively sparse. You see his sword. You see an armoire. You see a small pouch. It looks like kind of a belt pouch. That is leaning up against the armoire. There's a bed in the room. There's also a small writing desk with a chair. The writing desk has some loose, what look to be blank papers. There is a quill and an inkwell there. And that's what you see in the room. It's a very sparse bed. It's still like a wooden frame and then what amounts to be a mattress, but it's really just a heavy quilt that's been stitched together with a bunch of like hay and some cotton and some wool kind of padding into it. It's not a good bed by any way, shape, or form, but it's better than sleeping on the floor.
I'm going to intuit to Rathu that he should come back around outside when he comes back, and I'm going to cast Conjure Dinner, and just far enough inside so that he has room to close the door behind him. I'm going to create a pile of molasses on the floor so that he gets stuck and cannot escape easily.
Okay, yes. There is a kind of a gloppy slurp of molasses on the ground inside this room. And Rathu, you can kind of feel this sense of come back the way you got there. Which strikes you as a little odd because your easiest way to get in that room is from outside, for sure. But the second assurance is good. Anything the mischief does?
Yeah. So, uh, yeah. So part of Mischief was looking was he was waiting to see until sorry, Rathi came back to lock the thing, but in the meantime, Mischief's looking to see if there are, you know, other pointy things other than the sword that could be used.
Yeah. At least for other pointy things that are in the room, like his short sword is there. If you go through that belt pouch that was leaning up against the armoire, and there's some caltrops in there, you know how effective they would be, but they're certainly there. Um, if you were to somehow get a lot of force, you could maybe break a sharp like spike out of the armoire or out of one of the legs of the chairs, but you're a small bird. That would be a tall order. And like your invisible hand can do a lot. It can't do that much force to break some wood. The only other
Alright.
really sharp thing in here is like the quill.
All right. Oh, cool. And just out of curiosity, because you mentioned the caltrops, how big are they?
Like think jacks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And Rathu will take one last longing look before returning as well.
Okay. Then Rathu, you are up here as well. And now as you scamper back up here, you see the big splorch of molasses on the floor, and everything makes sense.
All right. And as soon as Rathy comes in, I will cast a mate. I will use the unseen hand just to lock the window again,
Okay.
just so that things look like they're normal.
Okay. I'm gonna say, because you've made the choice to lock that window, that this is definitely gonna lead us up to you either succeed or fail. So in the sake of expediency and getting to the end of this story without keeping us too late, as we have done before on this channel, I'm gonna say do your last preparations. I think we still have one more usable flashback in the party.
Correct.
So if you were to use a flashback to plan having something now, I would allow it. But do your last preparations before basically waiting for your ambush is what it sounds like you're getting towards.
Yeah, I am 100% ready to use the flashback here. For planning up how we're gonna rat trap this man.
I can say you can use this flashback to say that you have something that you're ready to use in this moment. You could also save it in case whatever you try and set up now goes tits up.
Am I allowed to pool votes here?
It's your flashback.
True.
I'll let you metagame for this moment. Yeah.
So heads up, I have like no fear score whatsoever. So like
Yeah.
my attack would be like conjuring a cut of meat or a cow like above his head or something, and like letting it drop.
I definitely have an idea.
Yeah,
Are we able? Can we just discuss a plan for a minute here,
Yeah, for sure.
just briefly? So I'm looking at the molasses trap. We see we've got caltraps. Rathu is thinking about how he can help here. Obviously, you guys have done some prep here, and using distract or confuse spell. Rathu suggests, the moment this man comes in, I could be focusing on getting this confused ready and focusing energy, and the moment he comes in, can cast like a focused, controlled confuse specifically on one person, point blank directly in, and try to channel So as this person comes in, he'll be instantly confused. We've got the molasses already set up. We could put down caltrops. We could, like you were saying, drop something. Like
Alright.
just an extra level to catch him off balance the moment he enters.
All right. So I like that idea, but here's mine. I can be one of us can be bait and stand by the windows so that we bring him to the molasses. In the meantime, I'll have my hand ready with the caltrops, and then you can confuse him or bait him so that he opens his mouth. I'll shove caltrops inside his mouth, hold it open so that he chokes to death, and then ice out, Lillian's back, we're happy again.
I volunteer as tribute to be the distraction.
For a confused spell, can I get specific?
Yeah. I might pull back on like the limits of this, of what, like, how great the spell can be, because you are a familiar.
Mhm.
But you can absolutely like guide, like direct, like confuse him, and this is what I want this confused to do. And if it's not too big, yeah.
Oh, it's pretty simple actually. With the idea that you've placed in my head here, Mischief,
This
you
is
really like
terrifying.
that quail. So, what if he has a mouthful left when he's entering his room? He just wants to finish swallowing it.
If
He
you
was
want
really,
to try
really
to
interested on that
use,
food.
if you want to try to use your confuse to like illusion him to think that these caltrops are food, I will absolutely let you give that a shot. And it
100%.
does, I will tell you now, it has a possibility of working depending on how the dice go.
All right. Yeah, I think that would be the best confusion. Obviously, with me being sloppy, I noticed how much he loved that food. It was specifically brought up. So I feel like the confusion of got a little bit more. It'll go over pretty well. I'm confident.
This is
Also,
I'm
he's
so
gonna be
glad that we
watching a
have this
leather
recorded.
got this leather-clad toad smoking a spliff, staring him down inside of his room. He's gonna
They
watch
call
him
me
prepare the
Leather
frog.
Toady.
Leather Toady. This is perfect. No, he's gonna be completely taken aback. Rathu's got those words pulsing through his head. You're not your father. You're the third.
So, just so I am clear, your plan is to, when he comes up here, get the toad to distract him, to get him into the room, to get stuck into the molasses. You want to use the power of the confuse to first get his mouth open, and then once the caltrops are in there, to think that those caltrops are food of that quail that he really wanted.
I think I could even combine the two, possibly confuse him to believe he's eating still. So the opening and swallowing would be one movement, make it even more streamlined.
Yeah.
The less casts, the less casts of the spell, and the more specific the influence I'm going for, I think would be as clean as possible.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Mischief will be ready with a few other caltrops just to
Just
in
to
case he
add
decides-
more for some reason.
Yep. So
Okay.
he walks in, and I'm just like standing in my leather jacket, like holding it with a cigarette hanging out of my mouth. He just like looks in and see a toad smoking, like leaning on his windowsill.
You're going full biker the WB frog.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Okay. That is the plan. We will smash cut to, it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours later. You are just waiting, poised, but you know he's gonna come back up to this room. It's gonna happen after he's done eating. And he comes back up, and you hear the door and slam open. And he takes a few big, heavy steps. I am the grit. I need you to give me a clever check, Bartholomew. Or actually, no. This is sly. This is our charisma based. This is sly.
8.
What was that?
8.
Okay, an 8. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna have him do some opposed rolls, to just about everything you do, as this is as close to a combat encounter as this game gets.
Mhm.
He walks directly toward you and steps into the molasses. Just, yeah, I'm the grip. What the fuck? What the fuck? And you can see with that loud what the fuck, you can have your confuse go off to try and get him to kind of hold that pho, and try to get him to think of these caltrops as food at the same time. So I'll need a let's see, that's using your spell in an inventive way. So I'm gonna say it's either a clever or a sly. Either way, for that spell to go off. And then for mischief, this is a quick check to see how quickly and well you can time jamming these caltrops into his mouth.
I'm sorry, you said mine was a quick and sly, so I need 2 rolls?
No, it's either a clever or a sly, whichever you will prefer.
Definitely sly. So then... is 9.
9? So he's... What the fuck? Mischief, what's your quick?
All right. So roll the 1, but it's a 3 total.
So
So-
it's a 3 total.
So I want to offer this. So the mage hand, the unseen hand that fails. So mischief then goes, fuck this, it's for Lillian, and tries to dive bomb into his mouth, so that he chokes on caltrops and bird.
All right.
Oh, that's...
I'm gonna need you... because that is daring and inventive. I need a fierce roll from you, but... because of how dangerous this move is... you've still got a point of danger, right? Because you've
Yes.
taken 2 through all of this?
Yeah, I have 1.
All right. For the sake of if something bad happens to you or not, we're gonna say you still have that 2 danger because of this
Okay.
maneuver. But if something happens after this maneuver, if you're successful with this maneuver, it will go back down to 1. But because of just the inherent danger of this maneuver, I'm gonna count that as a 2. Give me a fierce roll.
All right, and just for stake's sake, because I did fail the mage hand, do you want to say that it's a 3 danger?
You know, if you want to take it to 3 danger for the story, I'm not gonna stop you.
Yeah, I'm going for this story at this point.
Let's go then.
All right, you said, what was the stat? Sorry,
Fierce.
9.
9. So, you all, with your expert plan, he steps in, he's dazed, mouth agape, having not quite finished the word of fuck. The invisible hand, rather than going into his mouth, just kind of tries to throw the caltrops at his face, and none of them really get into his mouth, and mischief just zoop, dive bombs into this guy's face, and he is now choking on this magpie. There's another moment of things to do. Is there anything any of you want to do, besides, like, mischief? You probably want to stay lodged.
Yeah,
I-
so
Sorry, go ahead.
Mischief's just going to like spread his wings inside his mouth, just trying to grab, just make himself less large as possible, and just go for Lillian, squawk. Which of
But-
course just sounds muffled because it's inside
Yeah.
these guys.
Yeah.
that's
So
fine.
what all of you
Between-
hear is just,
All right, between mischief and his esophagus, I want to cast Conjure Dinner and conjure up dry quail, like as dry as I can possibly make it, to give mischief a buffer should he wish to escape.
okay. Now, normally, I would require you need to see to be able to cast a spell in a space. But
Okay.
because of your connection with mischief as fellow familiars, there's going to be a chance that you miss via your clever roll. But I'm going to say there's a chance that because Mischief can see it, you can magically sense it. So there's a chance that you can cast your spell directed there. Give me a clever check.
Damn it, that's a 4.
That's a 4. You cast, and this dry quail, there's a couple slabs of like this well-cut dry quail that are sitting on his left shoulder.
Rathu is obviously going to panic for a moment because he casted Confused, had this man bite down. And I'm immediately just going to like try to dispel the Confuse, but with a distractive like flash right in his face. Since I'm already casting directly on his head,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm able to. I don't want him to confuse that he's going to eat now because it makes it a horrible plan with the sudden change.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna kind of dispel with as much of a bright flash in his eyes as possible.
I'm gonna give
If
you a
it's
counter
possible.
offer.
Okay.
I will let you just do that, and that'll be a direct roll that he opposes.
Mhm.
Or you can try to do a clever check to turn your magic that you've already cast on him successfully to confuse him, to turn that confuse into just dazed.
I can do days.
So it's the question of,
days would probably be easier.
yeah, would you like to? It's the question of, would you like to do a clever roll, or would you like me to have him do a clever roll? They are different difficulties, not by much, but they are different difficulties, and I'm, for the sake of shenanigans, will not tell you which one is easier.
I'm gonna go with change it to a dazed, mainly because that's gonna benefit us more after the moment than immediately.
All right, give me a clever check.
3.
3.
That's unfortunate.
You try to shift your magic to keeping him dazed rather than making him bite down. You're certain that your magic doesn't have a hold on him to make him bite down, but you don't think your magic has a hold on him right now. That's not to say that you can't try to take a hold of him again in a moment, but for this, like, we'll say, like, round of combat, so to speak, he is unaffected by your magic.
Okay.
And Mischief, you want to just spread out more to try and choke him. That's a fierce roll, baby. What was that? We didn't hear it.
You're muted.
That was a 2?
That was a 2. That was
Oh
a 2.
no.
Okay. I'm still gonna do my roll, but that changes what can happen right now. So, there are moments as a dungeon master when you think about your NPCs actually as your characters and you want them to succeed a little bit, but then you realize that this is funnier than you succeeding and somehow, like, winning. Because... So... Yeah, I've rolled bad for this man. Troder...
Wait,
Did you
was a
just
failure.
admit that it's you versus us and we're
I think he
competing?
did. I think
Yeah.
he did.
For this system and this moment, technically, yeah.
'Cause I feel like you were arguing the other thing just like a week ago.
Different system, different circumstances. Context is important to every situation.
True.
So Mischief, you try to spread out your wings in this man's mouth. He tries to spit you out, and you are lodged. And so he does the next thing that he can think of, which is to chomp down. Mischief, you feel a sharp pain across both of your wings. You're not certain if they will ever work again. But you are still alive. but you are now actively stuck in this guy's throat. And you don't have the use of your wings. You don't know if you're getting out.
All right.
But we'll see what happens with the next round of activity.
All right. Yeah. So there's nothing I can do right now.
The only thing that you could do is to try to scramble out using your legs. It is clumsy. It is not great. But you also know that if you stay in here, you are actively choking him, potentially at the cost of your own life.
Yeah. So tell me if this is out of turn, but could I use my unseen hands to do one thing?
It depends on the thing.
Push me in?
I do not want to say yes, but there is no reason for me to say no. Like, there's no, except for the sake of me, like, because I love you as a person and don't want your character to die, that is the only thing that would make me say no to that. You can absolutely do that.
Yeah. Normally, as a player's character, I mean, I want to live, but this is for Lillian. Have been with her since she was a kid, and I was her first familiar. She gave me life, so I'm going to do my best to do the same for her.
You, with this flash of memory of everything that you and Lillian have done together, all that you have done for each other, the times that you have been you've been afflicted with sickness and she's cured it, the times that she has gotten caught in some kind of brambles or something and you have brought the spell component to her that let her get out, all of these times coalesce together, and your invisible hand shoves you further into the esophagus of Troder. And just as the pressure between his esophagus and your own hand that you are willing yourself to push further down squeezes the consciousness out of you, you also feel Troder's throat kind of slacken. You lose consciousness. You are certain that this is the end of Mischief.
I see his feet disappear down the esophagus, and I immediately hop down and do whatever I can to just pull him out. Just because this is like we've been together for a while. Like we are at odds with how we may address Lillian, and our personalities don't match, but like, family.
With Troder's throat slacking, I'm assuming as he's losing consciousness, he's collapsing, correct?
Yes.
So as Bart jumps down and starts to approach, this man is dropping straight to the ground,
He's
correct?
dropping, like, it looks like he's going to slump to his knees, because his feet are still stuck. And so he's going to slump, like, down to his knees, which, with the weight and the speed that he is going, it might break his ankles before his feet come out of these boots that are stuck to the floor.
Good molasses.
And then he'll fall
Good at my job.
kind of back, sitting up like this. Simply because of that molasses and how the force of this hand, this unseen hand, is still pushing him, like, down.
Okay.
That's realistically, that's probably the way his body would crumple, with this magical force pushing this way to slump him in. If he loses all of it, he's going straight down with the force of this hand.
So as he's dropping then, and I'm watching Mischief slowly, or rather quickly, disappear even further, I've already started the panic of my spell hurting him from the bite down, and seeing him vanish, Rathu would, again, not so much panic, but the fixation is going to kick in more,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to leap as hard as possible, screaming, as the monocle drops from his eye, onto the throat of the man falling and start full on just instinct rat digging into his esophagus, just clean through right in the soft bit
Mm-hmm.
of the collarbone.
Absolutely. I need fierce checks from both of you. Bartholomew, we're gonna say the way that you could try to pull Mischief is this is a full toad tongue like wrapped around the foot. And
I don't want to
or-
say.
no, say. Oh no,
don't-
say say
Oh,
what you
I was
rolled.
waiting for the description.
Yeah. This is a full like you flung your tongue and wrapped it around like the foot of Mischief, like right as it's the last thing that you can see, like really going in. It's a 2
And then I got a 4.
and a 4. Oh, this is gonna hurt to narrate.
No.
As Rathu, as you are tearing at this man's throat, easily getting purchase into the soft bits of his throat, you are clawing and clawing. Bartholomew, you are grabbing at Mischief's leg, but you can feel, not only magically, but also with the pull, that Mischief is choosing to force himself down the throat of this man. And you're unable to pull back against the weight of Mischief's magic as well as his resolve. As Troder is forced magically down to the ground and slumped on his knees, and you hear a bit of a crack from his shins or his ankles, and he is slumped kind of up as this tearing at the throat. You're able to rip in to the throat enough that Mischief, you blink one more time, and you get this last vision of Rathu trying to claw to get at you. Do you have any final words for Rathu?
You're muted.
You're muted. Oh no.
Oh no.
You're not your dad. Save Lillian. Goodbye, friends.
And then you see, like, as you've ripped open this man's throat, Rathu, you see looking into Mischief's eyes this look of pride and resignation as he says this to you. And then you can see, as well as magically feel through your link, you can see the light behind Mischief's eyes dull, as well as you can feel and see Troder, the life leave him. They are both dead. But in Mischief's sacrifice, you have killed the witch hunter.
I'm gonna ask Rathu to do his best to gather the eyes as I walk up to my old friend and try to process what has just happened.
Mm-hmm.
Rathu
If you'd
definitely
like to-
hesitate.
Say what?
You go ahead.
No. Whatever you're gonna say
Rat-
is gonna influence what I'm
Rathu-
narrating.
Rathu hesitates as Bart gently requests this and just kind of stares lost, like trying to contemplate and like calculate what just happened, and a single tear rolls down as he lets go of the bits of flesh in his tiny hands and just kind of nods, doesn't speak, and just casually hops over and begins to pull out the soft tissue to remove the eyes carefully as possible.
Yeah. Normally while running this game, I would make a check to make sure that you don't damage these eyes. But you have had a friend die to get these eyes, so I am not going to make you have the chance of not getting the eyes. If you would like, Bartholomew, while you're taking this moment of contemplation, to try to get Mischief's body out of the esophagus, you absolutely can. Because of Rathu being able to tear open this hole, it's an easy feat.
Yeah, all I want to do is get Mischief to the witch's hut. That's all I'm thinking about in this moment. Like, more than bringing the witch back to life. Like, my friend has just died. I want to bring him home.
Mm-hmm. for the sake of expediency and story, because we have hit the 3-hour mark, I will say that you are able to... It's difficult, because this magpie is the size of you, and you are a toad. It is difficult to get this body back, as well as the eyes of the mage hunter. Yes.
So we still have the harness, which we can use to help strap Mischief to Bart.
We do.
And how large is the small pouch that had the caltraps in it? Would I be able to drag it as a rat?
Absolutely.
Then I can toss the eyes into the pouch, help get Mischief attached to Bart, and then I'd focus on taking the bag back.
Okay.
Yeah, and if there's any kind of parchment or leather or cloth or anything, I want to put that under Mischief so that like I'm not just dragging Mischief along the ground.
Yeah, you're able
Yeah.
to fashion kind of a sled-ish thing out of like bits of like cloth from the pillow and stuff like that. You're able to pretty quickly do this using some of the molasses that you conjured up as an adhesive to keep like the things together. You're able to make up kind of a sled for Mischief, as well as get the eyes in the bag. And it is a long, arduous journey, especially without being able to fly, to get back through the forest and get back to the witch's hut. You make it back a bit after nightfall, and you can still see Lillian's body laying there in front of the hut. You have Mischief's body with you. You also have the eyes. What do you do?
Rathu will definitely go straight to Lillian, still mission oriented on saving the witch and understanding that Bart definitely has Mischief. Quietly and carefully remove each eye individually and place one in each hand as the diagram shows, hoping that it doesn't matter right or left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to the noises around me, hoping that I can hear some sign of Lillian, but also just starting to dig.
Absolutely. As you put the eyes into Lillian's cold, dead body's hands, you stare for a moment, because this is what the scroll told you to do. And for a bit, nothing happens. And just as you have that bated breath, that the eyes start to glow. And that glow starts to go from the palms of her hands where the eyes are in. That glow starts to creep up and envelop Lillian's body. The eyes, you see them kind of sink in to her hands. And as this glow comes over her entire body, it shines incredibly brightly for a moment. Almost too brightly for you to even look at, but this is her coming back to life, maybe. You have to watch, but it hurts. And as the glow fades, you hear as she takes a deep inhale, she slowly starts to stand up. You can see that big slash across her stomach has completely healed. Even her robes have come back together and have been mended. And she gets back to herself. I was dead, wasn't I? And she's looking at the two of you. You found the scroll? You did it. I wrote that scroll, thinking you would never need it. And if you needed it, it wouldn't happen. I love you both. You are capable, you are familiar. Where Where's Mischief?
I move out of the sight line to reveal Mischief's body next to a hole that I've been digging.
And Rathu bows his head and kind of just pops back a little bit to make.
And she looks at Mischief, looks at the two of you, and with tears streaming down her face, she picks the both of you up and hugs you tightly. I mean, not too tightly as to hurt you, because she knows both of you. She just holds you tightly. We can fix this. There's got to be a way. You brought me back. We can fix him too. We can fix him. And that is where we are going to end this story. With you, with Lillian. And maybe there's a chance that Mischief can come back. And we'll save that for the possibility of coming back for a session 2 of The Witch is Dead. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for playing. Thank all of you at home for watching. This story is usually more shenanigans than this.
How dare you leave this like this?
You're gonna fucking cry, man. Come on.
Yeah.
What the fuck? What is this?
Yep.
Jesus Christ, Dubs.
So session 2 will be you finding that Mischief wrote a scroll and have to revive.
Yeah, it'll be there's another smaller scroll in Mischief's nest. And you will all play as small bugs that have lived on and around Mischief. And I'll find a way to make the tinier the magpie is dead.
We're gonna do Russian nesting doll, which is dead. RPG.
And just slowly you're just gonna get smaller and smaller as one
Germs
person will
down to
die at the end.
atoms, and yeah.
That was great, y'all. That's why I love playing tabletop games. It's because the stories are like this. Thank you all for... Right, I have to be a host and close this thing. Whew. All right. So this was Dice Jailers One Shot Summer. This was The Witch is Dead, an amazing one-page RPG written by Grant Howitt. I did, take some liberties with some of the mechanics, but it was all based on what Grant wrote. Thank you to all of you that have played. Please go around. We'll start with you with Goober Entertainment. Tell us where we can find your stuff if you have stuff. Also remind us who you are.
Again, I'm Goober Entertainment. I am a Twitch streamer and YouTuber under the same name for both Goober Entertainment on Twitch and on YouTube. No umlaut, as is, I think, below.
Yeah. The font that I use doesn't have an umlaut.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm a streamer. I do mostly FPSs and game videos, a variety streamer. But hopefully with this, we can do part 2 and keep these going as well.
Yeah. Brain?
Hi, I'm Brian. I do not think, therefore I do not am. You can find me on Spotify at Taylor Swift. Yeah, thank you.
Bless. I needed that laughter. And last but not least,
Quack. Well, thank you all. I've been Mario Gomez. If you need a dramaturg or someone to help you with your writing or creative endeavors, find me at marioagomez.com. That's also my Venmo, so you can just find me there.
and just send Mario some cash for dying.
Valiantly.
If you want my Venmo, it's not at Taylor Swift. Please ask me for my Venmo.
Good call.
And I am Jordan Michael Whidbey. I've been your game master. I play a character in our normal Dice Jailers campaign. You can find all of our stuff at Dice Jailers, as you have to find this and watch this. And our episodes are on YouTube. Also, if you'll be at Emerald City Comic Con next week. I'll be around. I'll be running a lot of Adventurers League D&D stuff, mostly on Thursday and Friday. I might come through and play on Saturday. We'll see what happens. I might just con out and go to a bunch of things and forget to play. But I am slotted to DM, so I'll be there. I believe Bjorn, our DM for the normal run of the campaign and often DMs these one-shots, will also be there with me at Emerald City for a bit. We haven't really coordinated yet. But yes, thank you all for being around with this. Another virtual round of applause for our amazing players as I gesture to them on the screen that you see rather than the screen that I see, which is basically backwards. Thank you so much. We'll see you. We will be... Oh, because of Emerald City and us going to it, we will be off. We will be going dark next week because we will be busy at the con. But I mean, I TikTok stuff, so you'll probably see the whole con anyway. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. Please come back and watch this Dice Jailers again. And until next time, we'll see what chaos awaits.